Greetings, everybody. My name is Coin, and welcome to another session of Elden Ring Reforged. Deathless. All content. Fire spells only. Since I'm on time today, and just taking a quick peek through my chats, I do not see anything. Let me just double check the streamer.bot. Everything looks okay? Alrighty. Let's play the camera minigame, shall we? Oh, I do need to adjust this board. I believe the only subscription on this I need to fix is shiny, but all the rest are concurrent right now. If you guys want your names on these placards, which I do read at the start of each and every stream, do feel free to chuck some coins at me. That's your ticket in. Yeah, I do need to update these, but thanks to Just Me Carly, Nice One M, and Troll Castle King Jason for their currently running subscriptions. Please do enjoy the benefits and privileges that go along with that. Thank you to Mr. Gorda Goku for their continued Patreon membership maintenance. Please do enjoy the benefits and privileges that come along with that. Thank you to Mr. Rasby for their continued Valkyrie tier membership maintenance. Please do enjoy the benefits and privileges that come along with that. And finally, I do not have any one-off contributors during this month's cycle. But I would like to thank people who have donated to me in the past. Thank you very, very much for that. Why don't we step into the office? Greetings to you, Mr. Jason. Good to see you, good sir. Hopefully you're doing well in body and mind, and I do hope that you enjoy your stay, good sir. You've come in right at the beginning, like you usually do. Not really much to speak of other than recapping and like a light bit of bookkeeping. So last time we got nowhere close to where I wanted to go. I'm hoping to fix that today. Our goal is to finish the 8 braziers split, which we will see when we get underground. I'm hoping to get that done because the Castle Morn doesn't really take quite that long. It's just a matter of, locking the heck in and getting stuff done. Let me just double check that we are. These are the catacombs. Oh yeah, we're still not supposed to be here. Yeah, this isn't coming until a bit later. That's fine. I'll try not to spend too long on this. Mr. Jason says you were thinking about where to go for dinner with your IRL friend because you have finally decided on Saturday. You guys have finally decided on Saturday the 21st of March as a meetup day. Someone suggested a chain named Miller and Carter as a suggestion to you. You said maybe, but they seem a bit expensive, and they said, has that stopped you before? When has that stopped? I mean, on things you don't exactly care about, I guess would be the answer of, when does stuff being expensive stop you? That would probably be me on like an actual salary position. That said, let's get back out of here because we don't need to be here quite yet. If I'm remembering right. Yeah, we want to make it to the Tower of Return, which is like over here. Man, jealous jellies it looks like. My goodness. Well, let's not let them spritz us with poison. Ah, You know, jellyfish jam. Yes, let's not let them spritz us with that. That stuff stings and is awful. Absolutely awful. Okay, so just to remind myself, I believe this is the one for the Erd Tree avatar. Yes, it is. Okay, yep, we're good to go. All right, we can just head over this way. We'll be going over to that mausoleum tortoise soon. But not right now. We need to get to the Tower of Return first. Then we can think about that. It shouldn't take us that long to do. You guys will like the Mausoleum Tortoise when we get there. Mr. Jason says, although a full English breakfast is, as named, a breakfast, you can have it any time. For tea, third meal of the day, and some people call it supper. You're currently enjoying a full English breakfast. That's good. I'm having a nice cup of coffee. Plus some fried bread. Nice. All right, bat boys, batmen, man bat. Yeah, these things are called man bats, so that does fit right with the naming. So just to since it's been several sessions now since we've started playing through the mod, and more specifically routing for the challenge run, I guess I should reiterate what Elden Ring Reforged is. I think that's a good idea, generally speaking. Elden Ring Reforged is a mod made by Team Kernifer, originally by Kernifer, and then the team got more expansive. Let me double check the... Okay, that is working properly. Greetings to you, Mr. Shiny. Good to see you. Hopefully you're doing well in body and mind, and I hope you enjoy your stay, good sir.
Sex.
Thank you for the redemption, Mr. Shiny. You've come in right at the beginning of the routing, routing session for the day. Mr. Shiny says, full British, I gotta mind my positioning here, is probably one of the very few things in British cuisine that you would love to have. Yeah, I can imagine so. They're just like the full-bodied, you know, rib-sticking breakfast. Look, I know people knock the grits but, for, you know, American breakfast, but a full-bodied American breakfast, people should have at least once. Eggs, bacon, sausage, grits. You could also use hominy or polenta in that. You know, glass of orange juice, typically, but not always. And maybe even some toast. And there could be toast of many different varieties, raisin toast, whole wheat, that kind of thing. Mr. Jason says, you don't mind that people knock the Brits? Brits knock the Brits, understandably so. Oh, I had forgotten all about the bookkeeping. I should fix that before continuing. I do have to be out the door by 5 today, so I'm gonna end the stream around 5 minutes from 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, so we're gonna be together for 5 less minutes than usual. I've got something rather important with family that I need to take care of, and I want to make sure I'm not late for that. Truly. There are multiple people depending on me to be on time, so I will be concluding stream at 4:55 today so that I can be out the door when I'm supposed to be out the door. Other than that, nothing much should change, really. Going back to my explanation about Elden Ring Reforged, I would describe it as a vanilla plus overhaul mod, changing over 40 or 50,000 different things. while attempting to keep the feel of the game the same. That is to say, the feel of, oh, you're playing Elden Ring, but with extra bells and whistles. Mr. Jason says, oh, Mr. Coin, you know how you could sometimes be really random? You were in a stream earlier and they were talking about Disney princesses. So you made a joke. You said, I did a survey on Snow White. So apparently only one of the 7 dwarves are happy. That's a good one. That's a great one. And it's true. It's true. It's not a lie. It's not a setup joke. It's real. It just also so happens to be a really good setup for a joke. Where was I? Right. So new spells, new enemies, custom bosses, adjustments to mechanics, ducking instead of backstep, and so much more. Too many changes to list on a single sheet of paper or in one paragraph. If you guys want to know more, do feel free to type in !ERWiki if you want all of those details. Asterisk !ERWiki also works on YouTube, and caret, that's Shift-6 on a QWERTY keyboard, and !ERWiki will work on Kick. All of the apps have access to, all of the platforms that we are multi-streaming to have access to the same command, but it is specialized for them. The Tower of Return is over there, in case people are wondering what the heck am I wondering and milling about for. Careful. How did I not sever the other arm? That's kind of silly. There we go. Mr. Jason says, when you mentioned bookkeeping, when I mentioned bookkeeping, you thought that I was going to ask the same question that I asked in The Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom when I asked, what are people's opinions on the series so far? And you would have had to give me your honest opinion. You're enjoying it, but you're really just here to chill with that fine dapper gentleman in the top right corner. Careful, that enemy was still armed. Too true. Too true. You can't look away in this game for like a second. You really cannot. Thank you for the joke there, Mr. Shiny. Okay, that one there is just a hello Sparks. Would you like to get lost? Thanks. Appreciate that. Do we have I believe we have a Crimson Scarab in our entry, if I'm remembering right. Yes, we do in fact have that. Cool. So we can ignore it then. Yeah, and I am still working on the video essay. No worries. I'm still working on the script. I'm in the scripting phase, and everything. I'm just about done with the first section. And then after that, I will be on to the part that I could probably fill in some of without the need to make so many footnotes and citations. With my script, I want people to be able to go in and see, my speech for themselves. I want people to be able to know, yeah, this is where I'm pulling resources from. I'm not just a fibber when I say, Here's the publishing information. I didn't go steal it from some other person's video. That kind of thing. Now I will show you guys one of the few pieces of content that I don't think we'll be doing, and this isn't set in stone necessarily. It's more of the what we have to do it violates the spirit of the run, like truly. So I'll kind of like explain that now. So these imps, these locations are new to Elden Ring, Reforged, or not. They're not new, but they're one of the things Reforged brings in that's different. You can change your skin color in Reforged, and the archery challenges are how you do it. What happens, and I'll read that sentence, is I'll read those in just a moment. I want to make sure I've explained this. So you get on horseback. These are horseback archery challenges, and our goal is with these is to find rainbow scarabs. They're going to be 4 rainbow scarabs, 4, 5, 6, depending on the challenge, somewhere around there, that are placed throughout the region we find them in. So in this case, because it's the Southward Archery Challenge, the rainbow scarabs are going to be somewhere in here. In this region. If we pop them all, we get body hues to play with, which is what I said when I said you can change skin color. And I don't mean, oh, white, black, brown. No, I mean every color under the sun. Blue, yellow, green, some other colors, etc. Like those are more possible with the archery challenges. However, here's the catch. It's an actual archery challenge. You have to kill these things with a bow, which is in violation of the run, because, you know, we're doing fire spells only, right? I'm not supposed to whip out a bow and, like, kill something. What if I accidentally kill a different target? Other than the rainbow scarabs, that will be faulty. So I need to think about where the scarabs fit into all this, where these archery challenges fit into all this. On one hand, not engaging with this feels like a violation of all content. On the other hand, actually engaging with the content feels like a violation of the challenge run. You see what I'm saying? I'm in quite the quagmire here. But I did want to show this is here. This is here. This is something that you can do in the game. There are like 5 or 6 of these challenges throughout the entirety of the Lands Between, and I promise this is not all there is of them, of the Lands Between. And you get body hues and maybe 1 or 2 other things as a reward for dealing with the very optional cosmetic archery challenges. Let us catch up on chat. Mr. Jason says, oh, Mr. Coin, the UK is pretty good for the price of products. You went and got a 12-pack of eggs, bacon, mushrooms, black pudding, sausages, baked beans, chopped tomatoes, white bread, and a brown bread for just 12 pounds and 41 pence. Nice. Nice. Mr. Shiny says, another danger in playing with fire spells. Fire spells risks burning out. Too true. Too true. Yeah, that's a pretty good price for food, all things considered. Mr. Jason says, for any wonderful Americans in the room, that is just under $17. For any wonderful Europeans in the room, that is just under €15. Nice. Mr. Jason says, imagine if it was 900 or 1,000 rainbow scarabs. I mean, the rune pieces kind of fill that role. They're less annoying, but every rune piece contributes to a meaningful upgrade, right? You take a certain number, you turn them in, and you get an upgrade out of it. It's kind of like the Korok seeds from Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom. There are 1,270-ish rune pieces in the entirety of base Reforged. The DLC has a similar system, but it's not. I think they're Shadow Embers. I forget the name, but I know what they are, and there are a certain number of those. This is on top of the Skadu tree fragments that are present in the DLC, which kind of determine like what level you are in the DLC, to put it plainly. So there are like multiple collectible systems in this game, and the mod has like, oh, there are also more rune pieces in the DLC, so I imagine there's something like 15 to 1,800 of them total, which is a lot, and I do not intend to collect every single one of them. That's kind of not the point of all content. You can make an argument for the archery challenges. You cannot make the same kinds of arguments for every rune piece. That would take entirely too much time. Okay, up there before we get hurt. Really? All right. Wow, we're gonna have a whole bunch of people coming over this way. Hilarious. Are they gonna come over this way or not? But Mr. Jason says, but Mr. Coin, if it's in the game, then it's all content. Plus, you did give The Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom 18 months. You right? You right? That's the thing. You know, these challenge runs are kind of... This is kind of what I like about... you know, the challenge runs is they can be a bit freeform. Yeah, there's like a definition, but... I'm already going outside the bounds of the definition by playing a mod in the first place. And I think I can make some pretty good judgment calls. So I'll explain once I can actually like showcase a map here. My goodness. Can you get out from under there, please? You, I guess I'm just gonna have to kill with a fireball. I'm sorry. A certified Skyrim moment? Wait, what? All right. Wow, that guy just kind of forgot we were there. I'm not gonna lie, that was hilarious. Yes, to go back to what I was saying about the oh god, did I forget it again? I might have. Right. So, I remember now. So the Stranded Graveyard, the Gilded Cave of Knowledge. I technically have to do something that already violates the agreement of the run, right? Which is, I have to make a fire pot. People are like, wait, but that's fire damage. Is that not, you know, valid? Just as valid? Sure, if it were a fire damage run, absolutely. But it's not. It's fire spells. Also, Team Hitless has very specific rules about what kinds of consumables are allowed and what the consumables are permitted to do. Exclamation mark ER Hitless. That's all one word. Exclamation mark ER Hitless in chat on Twitch. Substitute with the asterisk or the caret as appropriate for Kick or YouTube. And it'll take you to the somewhat modified Elden Ring Reforged hitless rules. Granted, a lot of them, you know, this is a Deathless run. Why are we using, why are we using hitless rules? Well, quite strictly, the hitless rules still apply. I can't believe me falling down broke his poise. That's pathetic. And in those hitless rules, it very specifically says the consumable that you are allowed to use is bone darts. You can use any consumable if you want to make a noise. You're allowed to use whatever you want to make a noise. You are not allowed to use whatever you want for damage. The exception is if you're using like a consumables only run or something. If you're doing one of those, then yeah, use every consumable under the sun. And Reforged even has a fortune system or fortune built. Let me make sure I've tapped out of that. Because that would have borked up a ton of quests if I had done that. But yeah, there are lots of specific rules on what I am and am not allowed to use as far as an X spells only run, and as far as, you know, what is an all content run versus what is an all remembrances run. All of those words have specific meanings, which is why I don't call it an all content run. I need the language to be very specific when it comes to stuff like that. That does take care of the split, I think. So we got quite a ways away to go yet, because the Witchbane ruins are over here in this fetid poison swamp area. We're going to be collecting quite a few rune pieces first before we make that happen. Let me actually address the comments here. Mr. Jason says, in any way, it isn't Elden Ring Reforged all content. It's Elden Ring Reforged all content. Maybe. That might be a cute little thing to do on the title card of the stream when we're starting soon, and I might do that. But it's significantly less cute when you go to actually submit a run. I can't put that language or that change of language in the run submission. And to be quite honest, you know, I talk about, ooh, run submission. When are, you know, I gotta follow all these qualifications to submit it for the, you know, people to review the run. I think people are gonna look at it. I also think people are gonna see, oh, he's playing with mods on, and so that's already not permissible. I think that's what the larger community is gonna say. You know, you were untested. Why are you not doing Elden Ring any percent? Like, it's cool you did this, but we're not gonna count it. That's what I honestly expect to happen. I'm wanting to break the mold and do my own thing, which this very much is, but I also think I'm just setting myself up for rejection at the same time. Mr. Jason says, oh, Mr. Coin, the streamer Gen streams will be playing Pokemon Pokopia tomorrow. You're looking forward to seeing it, but you've made your feelings known on actually buying it. Fair. Would you wolfies like to come over here? Mr. Jason says, and you do have your own thing. Point tent. I know. Yes, I do have my own thing. And completely understandable. It's one of those, you know, how much do I follow the branding, yet even if it were to sail off a cliff, just to say, you know, I can substitute something with my name, right? Mr. Jason says you cannot in good conscience buy a lazy game key card. Yeah, I hear where you're coming from on that. Look, Nintendo making the moves it's making is exactly why I opted out of, it's exactly why I opted out of being a Nintendo fanboy. I was a Nintendo fanboy. I mean, I also liked Elden Ring and other stuff, but, you know, I had half a mind to stick with Nintendo. It kind of depended on what the votes, you know, shook out to be. Of course, I will always appreciate my audience empowering me to make my own decision. I'm extremely grateful for this. I wish I could enthusiastically express how much I appreciate being given the green light to challenge run. But some part of me deep down does know that that was not what my audience, like, was cultivated around. A lot of my big audience spikes happened when I was playing Nintendo content. I had raids when I was playing Xenoblade Chronicles 2. I had interaction, you know, with whenever I would play a Nintendo ROM hack, or a Breath of the Wild, like, or Tears of the Kingdom. Mr. Jason says, digital titles are annoying as they take up space. Physical titles are nice, but you have to have the cartridge. With game key cards, you get the worst of both. Yeah. Yep, 100% agreed. It's something that my sibling and I had a lot of annoyance on when we were ready to swap. When I was ready to swap over to Tears of the Kingdom, I need to keep an eyeball on that scarab, because I could have sworn that it saw me. There we go. Nice. I'm just making sure I've got eyeballs on things. I guess we can make a quick pit stop by here. I think there's an item or two I want to get here anyway, while we're making our way to the Witchbane ruins.
Well, it's been an age since I've seen a customer. How can I help here at the end of the earth?
Yeah, it just the corporate decision making of shareholder number has to go up with Nintendo is just, I never really quite expected that from them when they were doing it, and when I did become wise to it, I wanted to opt out. The game key cards were icing on the cake. The real thing of it for me was the patent bullying. That's not okay. Mr. Jason says, I think your audience, or you think my audience, simply wants me to do what I enjoy. I appreciate that. I appreciate that. And I will make sure we've got a vote item ready to go for the future. Either, you know, do we want to take some sort of a break after polishing up the first run, which could take a while, or, you know, at some other time, or do you guys want me to try a different kind of run, that type of thing? I do want us to make sure we're getting full use of chucking money at me if people do that. Mr. Jason says, when you approached that Lost Grace, you first read it as touch grass. That's the reading everyone likes to read it as. There were a couple of Magic the Gathering YouTubers that I watched that also tried this game out, on the random, enjoyed it, and then constantly said touch grass when they were reading the Grace site or when they were referring to sites of Grace. It's kind of funny. Okay, what I want is the Lost Ashes. No. The only thing I really need is the Stone Sword Key. Because that is a one-time deal. And then we can sell off things we don't need. Don't need any glowstones, and then we just do this. We might get 1 or 2 levels out of this. This is another reason I like early game arcane builds, is because arcane doubles as the item discovery stat, and we get breakpoints at 200 and 300 points of item discovery. So we're highly encouraged in the early game to make arcane the damage stat. It also boosts a few statuses like madness. Madness is one of the ones that's affected by arcane. Sleep or poison is another. Mr. Jason says you'll be delayed after the break again, good sir. Very well. Just go ahead and deal with these. And take your time, as always, good sir. And make sure I'm not like doing something weird. Forgotten short bow. That's a bad range multiplier. Let's not do that. Mr. Jason says, also, Mr. Coin, the aforementioned Miller and Carter, their menu on the website doesn't even list prices. Wow, that's like looking at a high-profile jewelry store, like Tiffany's or something. I do like jewelry. That is a hobby on the side that I quite enjoy. And let me tell you, browsing things at Tiffany's, they look great. But oh my god, you have to call and ask for what kind of price Tiffany's wants to set. And we're talking like 4 or 5 figures before you figure out how many dollars and cents you're spending. I can't imagine how many pounds or euros that would be. Let me go ahead and sell off that. I really don't need the strength seal or anything like that. Increases concentration and drains sleep buildup. Oh, but I can't use that because of my what I'm doing in particular. That is worth noting, but I believe soporifics are a different damage stat altogether, or it's like a split stat, which is kind of weird for these sorts of things. Mr. Jason says on their website, it says fixed price menu. You would really think that they would, I don't know, say what the price is. Wow, it's almost like they want you to spend money there. Oh my god, that's awful. Could not be me. Okay, let's see. And we don't need the earned hewn medallion. Don't need that. This is, if you want to play like a support class, this is how you would do it. Mr. Jason says, oh, you did find something vague. Treat yourself to lunchtime luxury with our fixed price lunch menu, starting from £18 and 95 pence. No, thank you. That's like, in honesty, that's like slightly more expensive You can have like a decent lunch for like 15 or 18 here in the States. That's in US dollars, of course. And like dinner for about 20 to 24 currently. You know, oil prices, trade embargoes, and other sorts of really awful events notwithstanding. Mr. Jason says that price begins at $25. Yes, absolutely. I'm only pointing out that that's like only slightly more expensive. That's like 25 or 30% more expensive than what it is in the States, which makes sense given the price difference between the pound and the dollar as of right now. You know, not accounting for credit rating or the dollar's value to other things, relative to other currencies.
Shall I let my hand share them with me?
Alrighty. There's a couple more rune pieces, and the coast goes a long way, by the way. Long way. We're going to be getting quite a few of them. I, of course, will try to, like, make that brief so that we're not spending 3 hours and some odd minutes doing nothing like what happened yesterday. Mr. Jason says, and they have an a la carte menu. Ah! Where you can buy things, you can put it all on the tray, as it were. I don't know. I mean, that's better than, like, Golden Corral, for sure. That's the only other place where you can put, you know, put things a la carte. At least here in the States, if not paying for ritzy food, I suppose. Could not be me, though. And just give me pesto pasta at home, and I'm a pretty happy individual, honestly. Is it just me, or is this octopus? Does this octopus have like fire-resistant arms? Or maybe it's because it's freaking raining again, like it always is in this game. When is it ever not raining? Honestly. This feels like Tears of the Kingdom again. This feels like Tears of the Kingdom all over again. I literally cry when it rains in this kingdom. My goodness. Nice. Yeah, thank you, Rock, for blocking my path, of course. Madness. Mr. Jason says, Coins tip, when is it not raining? Game, when you turn it off. Yes, that is exactly... Those are my thoughts pretty much exactly. Like, when you turn it off, buddy. Easy. Or when you're not recording. Sometimes when I'm not recording, you know, I'm like scouting ahead on the other file or in Tears of the Kingdom. When I'm grinding, it's not raining, but as soon as I'm on camera, you know, it'll rain in the places that are expected to have rain, just like all the time. It's the most annoying thing in the world, and there are fairly few people that I know experience it, other than for, you know, the people that talk to me. The people that talk to me also seem to experience continual rain in these games. What's up, Mr. Jason? Did you find something really exciting, as indicated by the double carrots? That is exactly what's going on. Miller and Carter do a favorite pudding of Mr. Jason's, banoffee pie. I'm hoping I'm saying that right. Is that a banana coffee pudding? Is that like a literal portmanteau, or is banoffee something different? It's fine if it's different. I was just curious. I was correct. when in doubt, portmanteau. Easy. I jest. But it is nice to know that it is a banana coffee pudding for $8 or £8 and 50 pence. Okay, these suckers right here in base game are annoying. These are Mausoleum Knights. And they do the really annoying thing, excuse me, Mausoleum Soldiers. They do the really annoying thing of teleporting around, like right there. However, unlike Elden Ring, one of the really nice Reforged differences, like between it and base game, is that Reforged actually makes things vulnerable to madness. And the general rule of thumb is that if you're dealing with spirits, most of them are vulnerable to madness. Some of them are vulnerable to sleep, but just about all of them at least don't resist madness buildup. You know, unlike base game where only players can be affected by madness. Oh, and Death Blight. It's great. Mr. Jason says, copied exactly from Uber Eats for Miller and Carter. Masters of Steak Experience for two. I'm sorry, Masters of Steak Experience for two. £78. Your choice of 2 steaks, sides, and desserts. Sounds good. Although I have learned that some institutions specifically cut the portion size in half when you order through Uber Eats or DoorDash or other, you know, other companies. So like, if the company itself runs a delivery service, then you're fine. But oh, what's one? It's not Barbaritos. Chipotle, like Chipotle Grill, here in the States, does that. They were very specifically, had testimonials from workers who were given instructions that if someone bought like $40 worth of food on Uber Eats, they were told to cut the portion sizes in half. Specifically urge people to buy directly from Chipotle rather than use Uber Eats or DoorDash. And different delivery services. I'm doing the Stormwind Shuffle thing again, which I need to not be doing. Like, different delivery services had different different portion cuts for the orders, which is wild to me, by the way. If you guys want to see that in action, I believe Moist Critical and one of his IRL like acquaintances or people that he associates with as like a real friend did a whole thing about it, where they ordered Chipotle using like delivery services, and the cut, what they chose to cut in portions was wild. Like, you just almost get half as much food as normal if you're using Uber Eats. It's nuts. And they don't tell the customer. It would be one thing if they told the customer. They do not tell the customer. It's just kind of something they had to figure out for themselves, you know, through repetition. It's a lot of money to waste on being unfulfilled, surprisingly. Mr. Jason says, surprisingly good, sir. What Mr. Jason budgets for meeting with your friend is £50, which is only £28 less than the Masters of Steak Experience for two. So you're sure that there's nothing on the menu that Mr. Jason couldn't get? Probably. It's just not wanting to be gouged by Uber Eats. That's the whole thing. Now, I don't know if, I do not know if Miller and Carter do this. You know, it might be different because you're in the UK. So there might just be different policies on that sort of thing altogether. But here in the States, like, the company itself Like, Chipotle straight up just gouges their own customers when they order through third party, which is what Uber Eats is. That single solitary video was enough to make me change my mind about DoorDash and Uber Eats. It's because you just now here in the States, whenever I think about ordering from them, I just have no way to tell if I'm gonna run into the company that is gonna shortchange me or not. Mr. Jason says can confirm they are fancy. Ah, good cup of coffee. Oh, I should not have done that. It's fine. It's fixable. Mr. Jason says lobster roll, succulent lobster meat, lightly dressed in Sicilian lemon and dill mayonnaise in a brioche bun. That does sound good. Served with fries on a smoked garlic and lemon aioli dip. Oh, okay. My mouth is watering. I'm a huge seafood junkie. A lot that sounds delicious. I'm probably gonna be having, I guess what would only be described as frat food. Where I'm going.
In the distance, my senators and inductees. That is an ad storm. In about 5 minutes, it'll blow over us, and then we can get right back to the gaming. Thanks.
I'll read those in a second. I really appreciate everyone's time that they've spent here. It means the world to me. It would also mean the world if you could electrify my algorithm by following my Twitch channel, subscribing to my YouTube channel, liking the video and or streams on YouTube, and even leaving a comment. Doing all of those things ensures that when I zap your feeds with a live or a long-form content notification, you don't have to worry about missing any quality content. Thank you guys for sitting through that. It's the part of content creation I don't like, but it has to get done. We do take commercial breaks at the top of each and every hour. There will be one coming up in about 4 minutes from now. The clock just turned. And when that happens, to the left of where my webcam is, will be a timer that reads 3 minutes and 0 seconds. That's how long the ads last. And during that time, I'll be getting up and taking a stretch break for myself. I highly encourage you guys to do the same thing. It'll make the time pass by faster. But do spend the time whatever way you wish. When that timer reads 0 minutes and 0 seconds, I will have returned to my desk, and we can pick right back up where we left off. Promise. I do my best to be on time to those. I'm not always perfect, but I give it 110%. I try to give it 110% on that. Mr. Jason says, I think we both are on seafood diets, good sir. Too true. Mr. Jason says, we see it, we eat it. I mean, I do see food. I try not to always be eating it. But yeah, I am very much, my palate is wide. There are only a few things. Let me dump that off in the distance. There are really only a couple things I don't particularly care for, and it's mostly the country food you'd expect. If anyone's ever had chitlins, I would highly encourage you not to. That is just stuffed into an intestine, and you either like it or you don't. Haggis is another thing I would not recommend. The smell is awful. The smell is absolutely awful. Or pickled eggs is also something I wouldn't recommend. Now, pickled eggs are probably fine on their own. Just don't get any from my uncles. They seem to like keeping the pickled eggs around for years on end, and when that happens, they spoil. Mr. Jason says, here's one example photo. Every moment made special. Now that does look like an excellent steak, though. I do admit that does look like an excellent steak with a fire roasted tomato, a little bit of a micro salad. I see some butter on there, and what appears to be like some sort of like crisps or tenders or something. That looks good. Like that restaurant must be pretty highly rated if they with pictures like that. There must be a lot of good reviews. Mr. Jason says, if you became a Miller and Carter shareholder, you would have a stake in the company. Absolutely standing ovation. Absolutely standing ovation for that. Let me see. I think somewhere around here, we're gonna be bumping into a big bad. Kind of a big bad. Oh, come on. Stop bleeding my horse out. Torrent can be killed. And if that happens, well, you are gonna have problems. This was like, kind of a bad spot for this to happen, if I'm being completely honest. Oh my goodness. I will come back after the break. So sorry about that. Sorry about that, everybody. I am back. All right, let's try to not die, and then I will absolutely catch up on the messages. Promise. That's the thing about Elden Ring, or games like this in general, is sometimes your routines that you do for stream just have to be broken, and there's kind of nothing to be done about that other than handle the thing that's right there. I don't see... I should also make sure this is toggled to live chat. Alright. So that there is a Graven School. These things basically spit out magic cannonballs. Oh, they're magic projectiles, but they hit like a cannonball. They hit really hard. And just getting hit by one of them, if they're leveled up with you, can be a absolute one-shot. I'm not kidding. These enemies go really very hard. The main places where you kind of expect to see these. Nice. Yeah, so more marionette soldiers. I can't stay here. I have to let them, So that might be a good note to take is, you know, make sure the marionette soldiers are cleared out or there are going to be problems. Where are the others? Well, come on then. Show me your stuff. Show me your strut. Just strut for me. Strut for me, marionette soldier. At least these things stagger easy. So if once you get to them, just make sure they don't have like their hyper armor, severe, insano style wind up, and then you'll be okay. I just gotta really watch the just watch the position. Yes, they hit quite hard and I didn't mean to do that. It's fine. We have other opportunities to mark a Graven School. It's not the end of the world if we don't get this one. This one was just an easy one to get. We just happened to drive it mad at a health total that I was less than stellar about doing that with. That's all. Do we have boluses? We're going to want precisely 2 boluses. But we can stick those on the hot bar. Go ahead and use that one now. So that's 1. And the second one's like over there. There we go. Easy, slim, easy pickings. Perfect. Just perfect.
It will do no good, I swear it. And yet you persist. You frothing degenerates.
Alrighty then. Yeah, that's is that Selin? It looks like Selin. Is that a copy of her? Is the one we're dealing with a fake? Who knows? Who knows? I know, but I don't want to spoil. I do not want to spoil that. Okay, so the next thing is the mausoleum tortoise. Excuse me. Mausoleum tortoise. You're not tortoisey enough for the Tortoise Club? Turtley enough for the Turtle Club? Tortoisey enough for the Tortoise Club? You know, that kind of thing. Let me swap things. So, of note, the ringing of the bell on this thing's undercarriage actually releases or will replenish the mausoleum soldiers that are out here. So just bear that in mind. If you like kill some and wonder why they come back, this is why. And once the mausoleum tortoise has been subdued, we will not see any more mausoleum soldiers except in a very specific area. Just kind of just keep moving. Yeah, and you can get flattened by this thing. It's not a particularly good idea to be standing underneath it when it's moving around. And you kind of have to use your ears for understanding when this thing is gonna like actually curl up. Maybe here. Yeah, this is it here. See, we're making good time now. Isn't that just fantastic? I think we're making excellent time. And it's only been an hour. Let's see, a couple of those splits went by super easy. And all the Mausoleum Knights are, of course, gone. So, how about that? So Mausoleum Tortoises, when they are subdued, allow you to duplicate a remembrance that you've obtained before. We won't be getting a remembrance for a while, and when we do get our first one, I guarantee you it is not something we're going to want to clone. Now, you can clone any of them for the generic reward that you will get when you turn it in, but I gotta be honest, Chief, you really don't want to be cloning remembrances just willy-nilly. There are a limited number of Mausoleum Tortoises in the game, and there are only but so many remembrances that are worth duplicating for access to one or multiple items. Now, if this were a standard 100% Let's Play, you know, that would be different. That would be totally, completely different. That would definitely be worth. That would definitely be worth. You know, we want to keep these tortoises in mind for the purposes of cloning remembrances, but this is not one of those kinds of playthroughs. This is an all-content playthrough, sure, but 100%, like getting absolutely 100% of everything, no. No, it is not one of those. We'll get pretty darn close, though. Okay, so I think for now, we're actually ready to head to the catacombs, because that's where the cemetery shade is in there. And if I'm looking at my spells right, I think I'm trying to remember if there's poison in here. Let me go pack a cure poison just in case. And maybe also some other spells while we're in here. Which would be... Let's also swap this for heal, and yeah, right there. That's perfect. There's nothing in here that we want. There's absolutely nothing in here worth getting. This is usually one of the few instances where I will skip a stone sword imp statue for just those reasons. While we make our way down here. Okay, I kind of know what... No, I had forgotten what kind of place this is. Not gonna lie. Don't even think about it. Just sit tight, little skeleton. Beautiful. Molto bene. Quickly. Ow. Yeah, you see, I mentioned it earlier. There were some quick thrusts. This is what I was talking about when I said that. Like, the archer skeletons can and will just take an arrow and do that. And do that to you. It's not pretty. Like, like Jennifer Lawrence did in Narnia. I believe the second Narnia movie, the character she was playing used her arrows, or used her bow and arrow in close quarters combat. It might also be a thing that, same actress, would play Katniss for. Like, I think that ended up being the close quarters bow combat was more of her thing than anything else. Okay, I gotta mind my surroundings here. Heals more, but is more expensive. There's also like a separate heal potency thing to worry about. That can kind of be an issue. Speaking of things that are kind of an issue, one thing that is definitely an issue is the fire pillars that are in this place. That should give us enough bone darts. Okay, yeah, I know what this one is for sure. There's no mistaking it now. Get this guy before he causes us problems. That's the thing about these sections. You play them enough times, and it's like you're sleepwalking. Just a little bit. It's kind of like you're sleepwalking. Almost like you're sleepwalking. Not exactly, but pretty close. Okay, how many more of you can I get to wake up? Good. How about you two? Gotta optimize your FP recovery where you can get it. You know, and hopefully not mess things up too badly. Okay. Where else are our lovely Skeletor? Where's Skeletor at? Or be the what? And the classic high pitch, like He-Man. Okay, quickly. Welcome back, Mr. Jason. You came in at a good time. We are, I would say about 60 to 70% through the catacombs that we need to get through in order to get to the very scary enemy that if most people saw it for the first time would definitely freak the hell out about it. I know I did. Mr. Jason says Mr. Coin is streaming. It's always a good time to come in. I appreciate that, good sir. Truly. I do. It feels nice to have someone in my corner. I'm gonna do the routine checks. I don't think there are illusory walls here, but there are some in this game. There aren't as many as there were in... No, maybe there are about as many as there were in Dark Souls 3. And the mechanism to trigger the wall has gotten a bit more generous since the days of Dark Souls 2 with the Pharos Lockstone contraption or actual illusory walls you had to smack in Dark Souls 1, but illusory walls are, in fact, very much still annoying at points. Oh, sorry. Oh, my left shoulder's killing me all of a sudden. I don't know why. Maybe I need a hot soak or something, but... Mr. Jason says you'll always be in my corner. Good sir, I appreciate it. You'll probably not be able to solve any issues. I don't need you to. You solve the issues I need you to solve by being right where you are in your current capacity. Promise. But you'll get an unlimited amount of love and appreciation from... I'll get an unlimited amount of love and appreciation from you. That's good. I appreciate that. Same with Miss Carly. I'm sure she appreciates that. Oh. Sorry, headphones were a little testy there. Now, the cemetery shade, even with my notes, does require a little bit of focus from me. So here comes the overlay, and I will see you guys after this is over. I made that look easy, but I do die quite often to that particular type of enemy very much later on. Thank you for the GGs. Go ahead and send these guys back home. And we'll do a swap over to one of the best spirits, like hands down in the game. Her name is Lutel the Headless. And she is a copy of the Mausoleum Knights and soldiers we were fighting earlier. But she can cause enemies to suffer death blight if she gets enough stacks of, or enough death blight buildup on them. Which enemies blighted by death blight in this game have 15% less attack power straight up permanently, as long as the fight is going on, which is just fantastic. Not every boss is vulnerable to Death Blight, but if you're playing a game where you could make use of Death Blight, you should be using it. Enemies that also get killed while they're blighted drop 10% more runes, I think it is. So it's just a good idea to kill them that way. Mr. Jason says, oh, Mr. Coin, you can't remember if you told me, but the wonderful Jen Streams wanted a Discord and asked one of her family first if they weren't up to helping out. If they were up to helping out, and they said, I'm not confident in making it. And so Jen accepted your offer. You said you're confident in I'm confident in making Discords. I made the TCC. You did say that, yes. You did tell me that yesterday. And I'm glad that the Discord server is made. I mean, she's trusting it to a good individual. Yeah, you did in fact say that. I feel like I'm gonna have to take a split second to go get a drink. We'll go until 30 points of arcane, and then we will put our dexterity up to 25, and then not touch it again after that, unless we absolutely need to. This one is... Oh, there's like a... Is that's Tombsward Cave. I'm pretty sure that's right here. Mr. Jason says, and no thanks were needed. The comfy manager and second in command role was your payment. Nice. Nice. You got something for your effort. That's one of the important parts. I guess the most important part is servicing our clients. But you were able to get something out of that, and there's, you know, if you're satisfied with the payment, then honestly, you know, it's fine. Nothing wrong with that. Oh, right. I remember this being a little bit tricky to land on top of. Whoopsie, I almost forgot. It's like... Oh, I think it's on the opposite side. Yeah, getting to the... Like, the Tombs Ward Cave, which is technically where we're going. Tombs Ward Cave is, like, really difficult to find on a map. You can go a long time and, like, miss it. I think it's here. Let's see if I'm right. Nice bit of Trina lilies there. Mr. Jason says, of course, good sir. While we can't charge money, we're still eligible to claim some fee for the assistance. It's just the world of business. Fair enough. All is fair in the pursuit of clout. I guess would be the applicable turn of phrase. Okay, did we touch this? Yeah, we did touch this. Okay, we're good here. Usually my field spell list doesn't need to be adjusted too much. It's mainly bosses where the adjustments really need to be made, and I'm glad I packed the Cure Poison because we're going to be finding some Servants of Rot in here. Mr. Jason says, although the true thing that we're aiming for is reputation. That's fair. Yeah, that's probably the better way to put it, now that I'm thinking on it. We're not clout chasing, we're seeking reputation. Which some people would use interchangeably with clout chasing. I kind of don't really agree with that, but, I mean... I kind of just I erringly did that, right? Oh, I should have just... Yep. Oh, if you guys are gonna stick together, though, well, that makes my job really easy. Mr. Jason says you have no need to chase clout. You have enough of that anyway. Fair enough, good sir. Fair enough. There are, like, poisonous rot mounds that can drop from the ceiling, which is kind of what I'm watching out for. I want to make sure... Because if a poisonous rot mound drops on top of you, you are losing 40% of your health, roughly. And then you are also, like the poisonous ones, you are getting poisoned coming out of that exchange. And I don't want that. Mr. Jason says, you do rather enjoy a good old stick measuring contest, although you are appreciating if someone else's stick is long... Yep, You're appreciating it, the stick is longer. Fair. Completely understandable. I want the stick I'm carrying to be effective. Not necessarily long. I don't care. You know... While I would prefer magic spells or bow, but if someone gave me a pair of daggers, I would be just fine. I don't mind getting close. Like if I can't stay far away, then I might as well enter the belly of the beast, as it were. Sir Jason says, although you do have a massive stick. That you do, good sir. Mr. Jason says, you mean we're a network for a network of streamers? Too true. Too true. We are still gearing up to do that. You know, as long as Discord doesn't, you know, as long as our, sorry. We're an organization for network of streamers, I think is the term we want to be cycling through here, as you've often said in private. And the TCC will be an organization for as long as Discord does not, you know, enter the dumpster. It's kind of on its way there, but it has not yet truly entered the dumpster of no one wants to use it, I guess is what I'm trying to, like, kind of say there. Mr. Jason says streamers have their own Discords, which is their network, and then the TCC acts as a network for those networks. That's the idea. I just think... I know what we want it to be. I worry that... How do I word this? Dead internet theory, right? You know, if being on the internet can kill you, you don't want to be in the internet, right? If the internet becomes a dangerous place to be, what are people not... People are only going to log in when necessary. People are only going to click on the app for work, or because it's what they have to do. I've seen this discourse on subreddits all the time, where people... you know, where people say, you know, that's it, I'm done, I'm logging off Discord, I'm getting away from the internet. I see it more and more often, where people are fed up with the way the world is currently set up and just want nothing to do with the internet. Or, you know, they see AI and their reflexive repulsions for Skynet kick in. One second, I will be the... And I did roll in the thing, which is kind of unfortunate. Let's clean up that poison before things get worse. Mr. Jason says, you do have some not so good news, good sir. Oh. I almost don't want to hear what that is, but we all gotta be big boy, you know, adults sometimes. So I wait with bated breath regarding the news. That is an awful, awful place to get interrupted for attacks. I need to get out of the poison swamp, like, as soon as possible. Okay, and our poison's ticking down. Good. Mr. Jason says, I'm sure, you're sure I have an idea of what you might be referring to, but if the TCC does become successful and people who denied us later decide, hey, I actually want to work with you now, it'll be a concrete no from you. You don't want to be a secondary choice. That's fair. That's fair. Your Discord, you know how you want to run it. I would probably be a little bit more lenient than that. Because I think if I'm looking at it from their point of view, it's like, oh, they wrote you off because they didn't think you were going to go anywhere. Well, now you're going somewhere. How do we word this? In an age where trend chasing is king, why would we want to stop people from trend chasing us, right? I'm trying to make sure I've worded this. It's one of those, and maybe, you know, people usually decline to work with the TCC because they're under the impression that we are like other streaming networks. I'm gonna be kind of wait for that to die down. There we go. That should be the last enemy as well. Okay. Cool. But is it going to be enough for what is to come? I surely hope so, but I'm prepared for it not to be. Mr. Jason says, that kind of explained itself, good sir. If they're good enough to write us off and bin us, we should be well within our rights to write them off. I get that. Yeah, you know, the trash takes itself out. You know, if they're only here to chase clout, they're not actually going to be here to care about us. I totally get that. And I think in the long term, I do agree with what you're saying. It's just, I'm a perspective thinker. And I think about these things often. Like, oh, well, you know, maybe their reasoning for it can be mollified or, you know, hand-waved away with what we're saying. And then they'll agree. And, you know, they'll join in and enjoy the company. But maybe that's the people pleaser in me. That's probably what it is. Okay, now we get back here and we wait for the smaller Miranda flowers to, like, move forward. There. Yeah, that's right. They made one of these giant flowers a silly boss. And it's just as easy as a boss as the normal enemy is. It's really silly. But if you wanted, I think the Viridian Medallion is, yeah, max stamina. If you wanted a way to buff your stamina bar, you know, there it is. It's a pretty nice, easy thing. Mr. Jason says, oh yeah, you appreciate my stance completely, and you know that I don't take any crap either, but you're just, as you should in your role, looking at the bigger picture. It's kind of like in a battle where people defect to the winning side eventually. Looking at the bigger picture, yes. We got a long way to go before we're winning. Right now, we're in the midst of reformation, but eventually, I think we will be winning. We just... The world has to not go into a handbasket and placed into the deepest reaches of hell in the meantime. That's the thing I'm wanting to be on the lookout for. I would like to try to avoid it. Okay, now this next one does require some focus. Mr. Jason says, as in they fight us, decline us, and then eventually want to join us. You don't want people to just jump on after throwing us off. I hear you. Can I level up? Can I level up with the stuff in my inventory? I believe I can. 600, no. 400? No, like 600 runes, roughly, would get us a level up. So one of these. I think we're sailing pretty good into this next one. This next boss is the ancient heroes of Zamor, or Zamor, and he's really rough. He's really rough. Not in the beginning, but in the end, he hurts a lot.
Shall I let my hand share them?
He's quite tricky to handle.
Your thoughts.
I'll happily demonstrate it for you. Watch, I'm gonna demonstrate it and then get it on the first try, and people are gonna be like, "What the hell are you talking about, Coin?" That doesn't look difficult to me, but it is. The ancient hero of Zamor can inflict frostbite. Their attacks are kind of hard to dodge. They're one of the ones that really punishes casters very heavily. I need to adjust my spell list, etc., etc. It's one of those, if you don't, if I can't imagine it being easier for folks that have to get up close, but you can't get a second to cast with this boss. So I want those two things, and that's really about what I have time for. Yep, and that just has to be good enough. Mr. Jason says, oh, right, that kind of expands on the policy set number 7 in TCC. All members of the TCC, be it client, challenger, staff, are invited once for specific reasons. If they do choose to leave, they, except for in very special circumstances, will not be offered a second invite. Since the TCC operates as an organization, we ask that you stay with us, as leaving will mess up the statistics, among other things. If you accidentally leave as that happens, we will offer to re-invite you. After the second time, you will not be re-invited. This is due to being deemed on purpose. Sure. Yeah, I get that. Yep, that's policy number 7 makes sense to me. Sorry, my mind is definitely on 2 tracks at once, in case it wasn't already readily apparent. I'm thinking about... Oh, also this is one of those fights that we can't summon spirits for. So we are 100% on our own, which is totally fine. I could have handled all our bosses by myself. Doing them hitless would be like a different cup of tea, but I can at least handle... I could have handled every single one of them without summons. It's just rough. Well, I hope you guys enjoy the show, because it is going to be a show indeed. And with that, I will see you on the other side of this. Thank you for the GGs. Not hard, but like you're punished if you make any kind of mistake on it. Let's head back here for a second. It has gotten a slightly bit easier from the scaling and the health adjustments, but this boss was also kind of a joke in vanilla. So it's like it's harder than vanilla, but it's slightly easier than I remember it being. I'm coming in with like higher effective stats overall. Okay, we are now Wait, why are we heading here? Oh, no, yeah, no wonder. This is marked wrong. All right. We are ready to head over to the actual castle. And we're making good time, too. Mr. Jason says, you know that it's not easy simply by virtue of being Elden Ring and all, but the fire spells make all of the bosses so far look easy. Well, I should say that my stats are probably on par with their level. And if we look at this right, like I have 163 spell scaling or spell attack power, which is not something that in base game, if you were to follow the base game formula and you just kind of went about things as you saw them, you would definitely not be able to handle Ancient Hero of Zamor at the point that we are at in the game. The behavior makes it a joke, but the actual stats required to kill it are not a joke. The reason we're here at the Gilded Court is we can pick up a couple of Starlight Shards from hitting, I believe it is over 10%. We've hit a 5% threshold. Yes. Mr. Jason says, have you fought any of the Burger Kings yet? Nope. We have a whole underground to do first. We've got Castle Morn to complete. We've got a little ways to go because Burger Kings are over there. Burger Kings are way up there, but we will be fighting some Burger Kings with them Burger King jazz hands eventually. Promise. Just I would suspect probably closer to next month, like assuming I'm on target and everything. That's when I would expect to hit them. Or maybe I'll get really good and not have to worry about that. Or I'll have to worry about that a lot earlier, is what I'll say. The other thing we're doing is I believe we have... No, we're one stone off. Nab it. But maybe I can get a level, though. Maybe we might be able to do that. Okay, let's see if we can't sell something to get levels. We did pick up some hard runes earlier. And one or two items, but to be quite honest, I probably don't think we're going to be getting, a level, but we are going to get pretty gosh darn close. Mr. Jason says he really liked Twilight Blitz. He keeps recommending that you go and play some of your games, and you said, I keep trying to play more games, but these wonderful streamers keep going live and distracting me. I mean, you can plug and play. That's totally a thing. A lot of streamers are actually quite happy to see their audience, playing the same game or similar games, or just gaming in general. This is a gaming space. I do get political sometimes. I do get political sometimes. We do talk about philosophy or the hard sciences here. This is not a channel that shies away from or backs down from most of those topics, but at the end of the day, it's a gaming space. I want people to be able to come in and, you know, if they want to just vibe and play Tears of the Kingdom or something, they're more than welcome to do that. They want to vibe and play, I don't know, Pokemon Pokopia or Lies of P or hell, Call of Duty or Overwatch. They should be able to do that. And, you know, nobody here is expected to like come and talk with me. No one here has to engage. That's not the point of streaming. My job is to entertain. Your job is to come here. If you like the content, listen. If not,
you hear that off in the distance, my senators and inductees? That is an ad storm. In about 5 minutes, it'll blow over us, and then we can get right back to the gaming. Thanks.
I know I've already chatted away about you guys supporting me for free. You all being here is enough for me, but if you want to support my work further and more directly, I have a couple of easy options for you. Available to everyone through either Twitch or YouTube. You can check right under the Twitch video player in the About Me section or the bottom of the YouTube description. Once on the link tree, Patreon will have a P-shaped logo, Coffee has a panel, Kick, Twitch, and YouTube have icons next to each other. My Instagram, Blue Sky page, and Discord server take up the remaining icons. Available only to those on Twitch are the other easy options. The bits purchases at the top banner on twitch.tv, spendable for any of the power-up rewards or as direct bits donations on Twitch, or the subscribe button near the chat panel. You'd take my heart out of its Faraday cage if you click on that Patreon or the coffee. But again, you guys simply being here is enough. Thanks for listening to that stuffy and boring explanation. Now, back to the coin tent. Thank you guys for sitting through that and for hanging out with me. You've been a wonderful audience so far today. As a reminder, I will be leaving 5 minutes early compared to the normal stream time, so there is that. But other than that, we do take commercial breaks around here in about 3.5 minutes from now. We will be taking our second commercial break. During that time, at the top of the hour, there will be a timer to the left of my webcam, and it'll read for 3 minutes and 0 seconds. During that time, the ads will be playing. I'll be getting up and stretching and doing other stuff. And I highly encourage our wonderful audience to do the same thing. It'll make your break pass by that much faster. But it is not required. Or I should say, spend the time whatever way you see fit. When the time reads 0 minutes and 0 seconds, the ads will be over. I will be back at my desk and we can pick right back up where we left off. Let's catch up on chat. Mr. Jason says there's another really lovely streamer from Germany named Pixel Melly who streams the finals as well as Twilight Blitz, and she's really amazing. In Twilight Blitz's channel, you've made a command called Rule Number 1 or Rule 1, and it says in this channel we appreciate Pixel Melly. Anyone not appreciating Pixel Melly will get a polite tut. Fair enough. Mr. Jason says, speaking of the amazing Pixel Melly, Mr. Coin, good sir, you don't tend to even hint about lead moderator if you were not one of their first or one of their, or if you were not their first or one of their first moderators, because it's just something that's unreasonable to ask for. But you checked in with Pixel Melly one day and you had the hammer. Nice. I think you were telling me about it, but you didn't drop a name last time. Now we have a name. Mr. Shadio says, hello there, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome on in, Mr. Shadio. Good to see you. Hopefully you're doing well in body and mind, good sir, and I do hope you enjoy your stay. In about 2-ish minutes, you'll be taking a commercial break. So you've kind of come in at the bottom of the hour. But I promise things will pick up once the ads are done. You know how streaming overhead is. How are things over there in Germany? I trust things are going smoothly, and there's a little civil unrest where you are. Mr. Jason says in your 3 minutes he'll be eagerly anticipating the return of Mr. Coin. I hear you on that. Mr. Shadios is doing pretty well in body and mind and belly. Nice. You ate pretty well? Awesome. Awesome. What'd you eat? If you don't mind my asking. Feel free to tell me off if I've encroached on your business more than I should, but I'm a huge food person. Food is a journey. At least I like to think it's a journey, and I think journeys are worth sharing. We can share in those journeys after the commercial break. See you guys then. Thanks. sorry about that, everybody. I am back. Hopefully we all got something we wanted out of our commercial break. Most assuredly it's not ads, but, you know, even if it is just waiting for it to be over, I do hope you guys got something out of it or found something productive to do that you wanted to do during that time. That kind of thing. Mr. Jason said, well, hold on. I'm getting a little carried away. Okay, red and green apps look good. Mr. Jason says, I'm sorry, I'm still getting ahead of myself. Mr. Shagio says, for now, you're taking a break from stress. You'll start looking for more job opportunities tomorrow. Understandable. I'll do my best to be a fair weather port for that today. I will try to not get political. I'll do my very best not to do that. I'm an extremely opinionated person. It's very easy for people to lead me down the political rabbit hole, and I'm all too eager to drink. I will try not to do that today. Mr. Shadyu says you ate some pig meat, some salad with tuna meat, canned tuna, and some habas bean paste. Oh, hey. The important thing is that you felt you ate well, and that you enjoyed what you ate, or at least you're full. But fair enough. Mr. Jason says, welcome back, good sir. But yes, with the TCC, good sir, it is definitely quite a bit larger than most Discords of people who are within our network. But that kind of makes sense. You just had a very brief look around during the break, and the closest server to our numbers is one with 196. But the key difference is yours is not public invite. Right. Yeah. Precisely. I mean, we're doing good for a non-public server, I'm going to be really honest. Mr. Shagios is actually, you're pretty interested in politics right now. You're kind of worried about a third world war starting. I hear you on that. I'm worried too. Mr. Shagios says, especially because Germany allowed the US to use their bases on German territory. Yep. So, at the risk of alienating some people, I will say it this way. I do not want to moralize to the Iranian people that are there protesting in order to be free from their tyrannical government. I hope the Iranian people get something positive out of this. I want their women to be free and not forced into burqas and hijabs anymore. I do think at least the surface reason being provided is a good one. And I don't want to spit on what the Iranians are feeling when it comes to that. On the other hand, I know that that is not why this war, or why this illegal war, I should say, is being waged. It is being waged as a distraction. All of the illegal shellacking and kidnapping, it's all a distraction. It's all a ruse. I'm trying to like tap dance around that very carefully, because if an actual war does break out, I could actually be seen as a traitor. And the wages for treason in America is death. I would like to avoid that. So I'm craning my neck out as far as I can for that, but I think both perspectives can be true at the same time. You know, this is an illegal war, and what the United States and its partner Israel is doing is not great, but at the same time, if the Iranians get something positive out of that, there can be good mixed with the bad. Like, them being free can be a simultaneous thing happening at the same time. If that's making any sense. And I hope I'm not alienating people. I'm like, oh yeah, of course you're the imperialist sitting across the pond. It's really easy for you to have that opinion. I'm mad. about the way in which it's going down, but I'm not really sure what people want me to do about that. We can talk about it. I could sit and note all the grievances. I can call the senator or house rep. I can leave nasty emails letting people know that what they're doing is illegal. I could do all that. But that's not gonna be enough in the face of violence and death and the potential for nukes. Like, all this is wrapped up over 20, 30, 40 years of history that I think can't be ignored, but we also can't be slaves to the history either. There's a really fine tension that if people aren't paying attention to that tension, they're gonna get swept up in propaganda really, really quickly. And it's not gonna be fun for you when you come out the other side of the propaganda. Mr. Shadyo says, TBH, when it comes to war back in 2020, you were shocked when you found out about the Ukraine war. It was a really grim day. You were like, what do you mean a war? Especially in Europe? We're in the 21st century. Yeah, and then it happened. And then it kept happening, and it kept happening, and then people kind of lost their appetite for it. But it still kept happening anyway. Everyone's lost their appetite for war, but yet they have found a non-greed focused reason for doing it. And this is kind of, I'll expound on this, and then I want this to be the last thing I say of it for a while, if that's all right, Mr. Shadyo. You know, counting your message and stuff, because otherwise I'll be here all day, and I do have a quota I'm trying to meet here. When it comes to war, it's easy when the reasons are greed. When the reasons have to do with greed, you can eventually convince someone that the price is too high to pay, and it comes to a stop. Unfortunately, for us, all of these wars and all of these things that are happening are not wars of greed. They're not. They're wars of folly. What do I mean by folly? I mean ideological folly. I mean logical folly. I mean people responding with their emotions based on past history. That's what I mean. The 2020s are a culmination of 40 or 50 years, probably ever since President Reagan, if I'm being honest with you. President Reagan was like the start of America doing shady shit for no reason, or for the reason of pursuing money. That's kind of where it started. Reagan's not ground zero, but it is where it started. How do I want to bridge that point? 40 or 50 years of history, you know, I would say post-Vietnam, have kind of led up to this. America is at the heart of a lot of it. Not all of it, but enough that when the skeins of lies become untangled and the truth is seen, we're going to find the United States' name written all over it, good and bad. How much good? How much bad? I don't know. I'm probably not going to live to see it. And I'm not even sure I'm going to have children that are going to live to see it. That's the thing. Because with these ideological wars of folly, the inhibition to use nukes, or the inhibition against nukes, lowers. And when certain kinds of people fear that they can't maintain their power anymore, we're going to see these low and mid-grade nukes used to prove a point. And that is going to kickstart mutually assured destruction. You know, and whatever comes after will be fought in sticks and stones, as Albert Einstein once said. Now, I'll read all of this, I'll respond to it, and then we'll keep it moving. Mr. Shadyo says, war feels hypocritical. It does. It does. At the end of it, the politicians of the countries are drinking and shaking hands between them like nothing happened. Meanwhile, civilians lost a lot of loved ones. Yeah. And it's the... I can't buy the... eco-terrorist justification of, oh, we're humans, we screw up the environment, and so war is good, actually. You know, it's okay to send tens of thousands or a couple hundred or a couple million people, you know, into the meat grinder, because that's less humans, you know, eating and shedding offal onto the planet or otherwise corrupting it. I'm not kidding. There are eco-terrorists that are justifying these wars as a punishment for the human sins of the sins of the collective species. And I don't, as a druid, I don't know what to make of that. You know, as someone who venerates and respects nature a lot, the people using carnage to justify protecting nature goes beyond the trope of not being kind, like nature isn't always kind, to like nature is being unnecessarily cruel, because we're part of nature too, and that level of cruelty is unjustified in order to when talking about righting societal or species-wide wrongs. I appreciate the latitude, Mr. Shadyo, on that second to last statement. Mr. Shadyo says, also, Mr. Coin, if you're interested in satirical movies, I might be now. Idiocracy and The Dictator really hit the point explaining today's world, even if they were made years before all this started. Yeah, it's like 1984 was supposed to be a cautionary tale, not a guidebook. But yet here we have all of these political strongmen, you know, using The Dictator and 1984 as a guidebook for what to do next. And they're speed running it because AI and the technological age compresses a lot of what humans could do into a shorter time span. Like, imagine if these wars were not fought with planes, but had to be fought by ships and by you know, by land invasion. Like, that, imagine if that were the order of the day, like before the advent of the plane being made. Wars were more protracted and lasted a lot longer. It took a lot longer for that sort of stuff to happen. Now with all this technology that can be compressed, all of that stuff that would take 20 or 30 years to fully play out, and you could read about in history. You could read about it in the history books. Yeah, that's compressed to like a timetable of 5 to 8 years now, which is just, it's insane to think about. It's the kind of stuff that keeps me up at night. Mr. Shadyo says, for example, in The Dictator, the main character has a nice discourse about Americans. You should try living in a dictatorship. I know it's hard for you, but you should try. You could silence the critics, and the wealthy could hoard the wealth. My God, man. They really are just quoting Peter Thiel as though he was scripture, aren't they? For what it's worth, my fellow Europeans and, you know, my people, the people across the pond in the British Isles, I do share a lot of your concerns, you know, regarding possible World War III. We definitely started it, but I think because of the history that the United States had with Iran, I think it was always going to come to this. I think it was a matter of time. How long before our meddling would not be tolerated? How long before some abuse of power was displayed by one or more groups in such a way that America became too tempted to get involved? that kind of thing. How long before the blue 6-pointed star state would attempt to make its machinations for Greater Israel known? Like, how long before they were going to act on that? This is what I meant when I talked about the sins of folly. Everyone's really wary about the sins of greed. Everyone's watching the capitalist overlords. But the sins of folly are a different thing entirely. Mr. Jason says, changing the subject now, though? Of course. I would like to... I'll truncate all of that conversation in a nice, neat bow. And then I would probably like to not touch that again for the remainder of today. I hope my European and British or United Kingdom peeps or people from Japan or the Philippines don't judge me too harshly for that. Mr. Jason says, did you ever see the game Kid Icarus Uprising for the Nintendo 3DS? I watched Chugga Conroy play it. Yes, I did. Back when the game first released, a UK retailer was having financial issues, and so they were shipped some Kid Icarus Uprising 24-card pre-order packs. I do remember that, yes. And they were not able to give them out as Nintendo didn't send them the game because of those issues. So you got a few of those packs. You still have one that is new and sealed, but also you also have a large pile of Kid Icarus Uprising AR cards. Nintendo's UK package says, Diamond cards are truly special, and even among these, some are especially rare. The Palutena rare 404 card, for example, only appears once in approximately every 1,600 packs. Right now, there are only a few hundred of these all across Europe. Finally, there is even a very limited edition batch out there without any rarity indicators at all. Those cards are no longer in print. So if you were to have, say, Medusa Battle 027 card without a golden wing on it, you best hold on to it. And you have 6 of those cards. That's awesome. Now that's a collector's item, or it'll be worth something if you ever trade those in. That's the kind of stuff that could probably go into an auction and you would get like a few £100 for it at the very least. I could easily see that. So welcome to Castle Morn. We have spent 15 minutes talking about current affairs. That is lost time for dealing with the castle. And for the record, I don't see that as like a, put down of the issues. Just there's only so much that I can take of current affairs at the moment. I am upset as a citizen. I truly am. I'm always thinking about ways that I could join the cause and effectively resist somehow. Have my might join that of the collective ocean and getting our overlords to stop. But to be honest, there's too much technology. I just don't see it happening. And this is the kind of news that drives one into suicide, or Minecrafting yourself. I talk about it in vlog number 8 quite a bit. It's not ready yet, but I do talk about it. I'm trying to think of what to say, and then I'll read the comments, promise. And of course, I keep getting strays while I keep trying to think. I'm out here catching strays, as they say. Eh? I didn't think so. No, that didn't even sound funny to me after I uttered it. Mr. Shadow says, this reminds you, you saw some time ago about how someone sent a very old game overseas for someone. It was also very rare and was destroyed by the TSA. Yeah, I do remember a couple cases of that. That's awful. Mr. Shadow says, ultra rare floppy disk game twisted and slashed into shards by US Customs or DHL checkers. Ruined Tsukihime 1999 demo was one of only 50 ever produced, and no one's ever getting that back. Yeah, that's awful. Oof and a half. I hope that piece of history is somewhere out there. I thought I heard like a dog pop out of the woodwork, which is why I stopped moving. There we go. These things are annoying. If you aren't paying attention to like the bite pattern or lurch pattern as they're like attacking you, you can die. Strays can bleed you out like crazy, and it's not fun to get bled out by one. Mr. Jason says it's not worth it to resist, though. As sad as it sounds, it's not worth getting shot. See, as a normal citizen, you know, you're right. You're right in a lot of ways on that. However, there are some things worth dying for. I know that sounds macabre. That's very macabre when I say it that way, right? But I want people to remember who they're talking to. I'm an American citizen. We rebelled against the British monarchy almost not quite 400 years ago. And many of them got impaled by guns or shot to death back when we were fighting the way that the British monarchy had taught everyone to fight, you know, via phalanx, like marching warfare. Yeah, the British had the high-tech machinery, and you know, we barely had more than like blunderbuss or like shorthand guns. And people back then thought that trying to resist King George III was very much not worth it. And if we had not survived past Bunker Hill, I think that sentiment would be a lot stronger. But you know, our people did fight past Bunker Hill. And we met with General Lafayette, and we learned the ways of the French, and we became better for it. We learned, you know, guerrilla warfare, and we were able to establish our own colony eventually. A lot of us would argue that that was worth dying for then, and it's worth dying for now. You only live life once. But what's the point in living if... What's the point in living if you're living in servitude? Which I would kind of argue today's era is slowly approaching that of what I would call techno-feudalism. I did not go to college, get two associate's degrees to become a serf. I would sooner die than deal with that. And take that, YouTube. I'm not gonna let you censor that word. Not willingly, anyway. I am someone who takes my own personal sovereignty and freedom very seriously. And so for me, fighting against that kind of fate is worth dying for. Because even if I should perish there will be people after me who think the same way I do and are more skilled in either the ways of war or in the ways of treachery than I ever could be. And they will be able to fight that injustice. It matters not if I get to live to see it. It only matters that there are people that get to live to see that. Mr. Shadow says, you really hope that America will again become the symbol of freedom at some point, an example for other countries. America will forever be, or I should say the United States, will forever be an example of the bad emperor problem. People will look to this administration and say, this is what happens when you assume that everyone is operating in good faith. You will eventually be subsumed by propaganda that does not wish for you to work to succeed. Some part of it is maybe there's some greater plan, and some part of this, what's happening now, is just the sins of folly, revenge. Because 47 almost got punished in court of law, and he almost got killed twice. He is going on a tour of revenge. And no matter what people think of him, 47, he's honest. He is refreshingly honest, as a matter of fact. He doesn't gaslight the American people. He says exactly what he's going to do. He may either double down or forget it later, but when he shows you exactly who he is, people should believe him. Because I almost think he doesn't know how to lie, or he doesn't know how to lie very good. He doesn't know what that kind of thing is. And I, as a citizen, find that very refreshing. Give me 1 second, because there is... I'm trying to watch Crossbow Sawyer over there. Mr. Shadow says, you think we need to bring back the Royal Jesters? I think we need to bring some form of one of the Vault-Tec vaults from like Fallout 3. No, Fallout New Vegas, where we elect people based on how much they don't want the job. But Royal Jesters might be, or people that are there to entertain would be very good. It's just that today's entertainment is screen time, when before it was exercised in the courts. I think we could use something like that, but I would much prefer people get elected that don't actually want the position, and so they'll actually listen to the people when they're talking to them, because they already don't want to be there anyway. But that brings about its own ethical problems. Mr. Jason says you don't even have the Palutena Rare 404 AR card. You don't have that, but you do have 6 of ones that haven't been demarcated with rarity symbols. So, I mean, count your blessings, right? At least that's what I would do. I would save those up for as long as possible and then sell them when I know I'm going to get some serious poundage out of that. But that's just me. But I may keep one for collection purposes. I would be the kind of person to do that. This is directed at Mr. Shadow, but I'm going to take a quick glance at it. I appreciate that, Mr. Jason. I feel like now... This is something I kind of didn't really want to say is completely justified or anything, but now I kind of feel like I feel similar to the Russians, where like people from Russia, like the citizens of Russia, while people know that the citizens of Russia are not the Russian government, right? the Russian government has created a stereotype of Russian people, and they have to fight that. This administration has created that same stereotype for us, but instead of, I almost think it's worse, because at least with Russia, it's, oh, you know, they lie to you. That's the stereotype, right? They lie. With America, it's more like we're two-faced, and you don't know who you're gonna get that day. You can deal with a liar. You treat him like Loki from the Marvel series. You trust what you trust what they're going for. You do not trust a word they say or the actions that they engage in or with. You don't get that guarantee with America, because the two-facedness means that they'll go along with the truth when it's convenient. They'll also fight the truth when it's convenient. It's perfidy of the worst sort. Mr. Jason says, that reminds you of something funny, Mr. Coin? Oh, was that in regards to the rare card that you were having, or the remarks I made about collecting the cards, or being a collector? I'm just trying to jog your memory a bit. Mr. Jason says, if you can remember. Yeah, you've lost it. Unless losing it was the joke. Mr. Jason says something different. Okay. Well, it isn't for a lack of effort. So, not the joke. Got it. Fair enough. Not for a lack of effort. My sibling and I often try to help each other. Why did the sound cut out there? That's weird. I guess I'll try not to pay it that much attention. Mr. Jason says, yeah, you've genuinely lost your trail of thought. This is either a really wicked joke setup, or I'm really sorry that you usually don't have issues recalling jokes. You're sure it'll come back? If it's important, it will. If not, it was not meant to be. It's not, no. Well, I mean, the same thought process extends out to things that aren't important anyway. If they're important enough to you in your mind, you'll recall them. And if not, you know, I'm sure they'll be there eventually. I almost think did I make a boo-boo there? I don't think so. Mr. Jason says it's not a joke. No, good sir. Very well. I'll stop blathering on about it. There's a point where me blathering on about an old thing is helpful in terms of jogging memory, and then my sibling and I will be the first ones to tell each other, yeah, you're not helping. Can you stop that now? Thanks. Mr. Shadu says, also, recently you saw a movie about how it would be if a president would want a third term in America. It was named Civil War. Ah, the title explains the idea of the movie, and it kind of shows it's not that unlikely. Well, I mean, in fairness to the United States, we did actually have a president who got 4 terms. His name is Franklin D. Roosevelt, the author of the Great New Deal. He got 4 terms. He went well beyond the espoused vision of George Washington of only seeking 2 terms to not be a forever king. Trump is just more barefaced about it. Instead of FDR being like, oh, hey, I could do so much more if I could keep being the president, right? Like, I could at least get that. 8 years for us is really not a long time to affect policy. It's real, or for presidents to affect policy. This is one of those things that I think is a shortfall of the American system of government And where I kind of actually envy our peers in the British Isles across the sea, when they vote people in, they vote a party, right? They vote a party, they trust the party to make the decisions. Now, there's a bucket of worms with that as well. No system is perfect. No system of government is perfect at all. But the American system of government assumes that people act in good faith. A lot of the Founding Fathers' decisions were made with the cultural unity of, yeah, we hate the monarchs. We really don't like monarchs. We distrust our government and fear it will abuse us. And their fear was entirely justified because the British monarchy at that time did peddle abuses onto the American colonists. Like, I do get that. What these past 10 years, 12 years almost, have shown us is you can flip that system on its head. What happens if all the assumptions that the Founding Fathers of the United States of America, the U.S., what happens if all those assumptions are made in bad faith rather than good faith, where everyone seeks their own personal betterment rather than that of their constituents that they are representing? This is the result you might get. It is the bad emperor problem made manifest. A lot of that, Shushadyu says, makes sense. The system worked when the system was made. Yes. And also, America was a completely different beast back then. Where we took the lessons of our Founding Fathers a bit more seriously, and we didn't intervene in foreign affairs that often. We kind of wanted to be like Venice. We wanted to trade. That's what we cared about. And, you know, we wanted to make friends. There's nothing wrong with that. The issue was in World War I, World War II, where you had to intervene. You could not sit on the side. And even then, it took America getting struck to intervene. And then after that, right around post-World War II is when we shift from being anti-intervention to being pro-intervention if it suits us. When we started flipping a lot of the philosophies of the Founding Fathers on their heads, that is when I think America outgrew the system that the Founding Fathers made, that they drafted and designed in the hot summers of America, you know, when they were struggling to keep the country together. Mr. Jason says, you know that most countries are intending to decouple from the U.S. in terms of tech, trade, food, so on, and markets. Like if America stops having a functional presence in markets, this whole, if we don't like what you're doing, we're going to bully you into submission thing isn't going to work. Because America will not have the purchase to make such long trips across the globe with its planes and its ships. They will not be able to defend them quite so readily. Then again, drones completely change the calculus of most war, like most decisions involving war these days. And mobile missile launchers are more of a thing than they ever were before. So you can still have some elements of like a mobile fortress, so to speak. And that is quite a problem. Mr. Shadku says, you really think that the root problem is the education systems around the globe? Yep. And that I would like us to be fair. I know it's easy to make fun of we, the American people, for outsourcing our education. these problems with propaganda are not unique to the United States. They're just particularly acute. That's all. At least in Romania, they are for sure not teaching you how to think critically. Questioning a teacher's decision is almost a sin. Yeah, and before everyone, you know, hops up and down and says, "Well, the U.S. Democrats sure don't do that." Yes, they do. They act in exactly the same way that Mr. Shadio describes. It's just different issues. They just bludgeon and browbeat you over different things, and they are very willing to take your life and torch it to cinders if it meant making an example of you. This is why I am mildly left in U.S. politics. Mildly left. I am almost a classical liberal in some of my underpinnings, is the best way I would go to say it. Mr. Jason says you're well aware that the American army is massive. It is. But some people, especially in r/crap Americans says the U.S. Army is all the gear but no idea. As in, they did some war games with Finland in the Arctic and the Finnish soldiers were told to take it more easy on the American soldiers. Yep, I have a problem with that. That definitely should not be a thing that is happening. Look, we need to be able to handle other nations at full power. If they're going easy on us, you know, that's just us wanting to massage the egos of our own military, and that's not good for a variety of reasons, none of which have to be political, for the record. Mr. Shadow says also the problem can be that some nations are too proud. They don't want to borrow a system from another country that works. They want to make their own. Or, you know, in the case of the United States, right? Do you know that a lot of our government structure is actually based on the Roman Empire? Not explicitly from the Roman Empire, right? Give it a new name, change around some words, change what the parties represent, but a lot of the framework exists in both the Magna Carta and you know, the senatorial chambers of the Roman Empire. We based our structure on a fallen empire, ladies and gentlemen. Gee, I wonder why it's failing now. Eventually, at some point, empires are not sustainable, and they start self-cannibalizing. And that's not good either. It took the Roman Empire a really long time to do that. Because of technology, it's going to take America much less time for it to do that. Instead of getting 1,000 years, we get 400, roughly. And if you count both leftovers from the British monarchy and, you know, the 250 some odd years of American history. I will read that statement in just a moment. I want to be sure I'm not getting pegged by arrows here. Cool. Mr. Jason says, to be fair, some British have British exceptionalism like some Americans have American exceptionalism. One saying is the sun never sets on the British Empire. Yeah, that's true. You know, Manifest Destiny was the American version of that. You know, we wanted a nation that touched the seas. We borrowed a lot from the English once the English took over the colonies and managed to either war out or buy out their Dutch and French peers to make that happen. I try to be a humanitarian in situations like these. I want people to remain fair to the Americans that A, did not vote for this, and B, I almost died there, and B, I want people to keep in mind a lot of the negative news feeds are propaganda. They're not, and I don't say propaganda to say it's fake lie propaganda. you know, the truth is also propaganda. Us saying that, oh, the Iranian people want to be free can be true, and also a propaganda piece for why invading them or putting boots on the ground to make that happen, it is a good thing. Like that, like the truth can become propaganda. Being propaganda does not erase its truth-like quality. It becomes both.
There's a face I must
I'll
see
read that in a
before.
second.
I'm Edgar, warden of this castle, as ordained by Lord Godric himself. But you can see how things have turned out. The menials have all rebelled. They gave me good service, or so I thought. But it seems it was all an act. Foul creatures, as it said, and true enough, they're foul inside and out. I'm sorry to disappoint you, but whatever you come here to do, I'm afraid Castle Morn won't hold much longer. Take this, by way of apology. I see. From Arena. Thank you. I mean, we're dead, but I can't leave yet. Even if the castle should fall, as commander, I must remain to ensure the treasured sword of Morn does not fall into the wrong hands. If you see Arena, do tell her that her father will come for her once he's fulfilled his duty. If you see Arena, do tell her.
Oh, there is a problem with that, Edgar. You see, she's dead. I can't tell her what you want to say, because her corpse can't hear it. Wow, what a macabre story that is. Mr. Jason says, you, a very proud Brit, just enjoys his UK exclusive Hotel Chocolat. I'm glad that you do, good sir, for what that's worth. Mr. Shadyo says, you did read that FOSS Romanian Special Forces are highly respected in NATO. I would agree with that. They adapted easily and were better to instruct the foreign military because they actually took them and taught them on the battlefield. Yes. Yes. We're better at teaching people how our technology works. Somewhat. But I don't know if I would necessarily trust our field commanders to tell you military tactics. We're kind of used to brute forcing things. Like, I don't know. I mean, having sonic weapons that cause enemy soldiers to bleed out of their eyes is a very scary weapon indeed. We're talking like stuff you see in Mass Effect scary. Like, the US does have that technology. They're going to deny it. But if you read the reports on how we captured Maduro, that is something that was used. These soldiers inexplicably started bleeding after a microwave weapon was used against them. So we have that technology to look forward to in World War III, possibly, maybe. Mr. Jason says, oh, and I'm, Mr. Shadya, I am very aware that I will take what you have to say with a grain of salt. I will do that. I just also don't think you're utterly or completely wrong there either. You were either taught that or you went to confirm that piece of information for yourself. I trust you to do that. Mr. Jason says, you know that, you know that you shared a U.S. Hotel Chocolat website with you, Mr. Coin, but it is just that a website. Hotel Chocolat had stores in Japan and America in the past, and that didn't work out. Yeah, I understand that. Shipping's expensive.
Shall I turn? Let
And
my
the
hand
Red
rest
Sea is closed.
for the shadow of me.
Some of the straits over where I ran they were forcibly kept open by the American military, but the Red Sea, I know for a fact, is closed. So gas is going to be spiking as a result of this war that we're fighting. And I know It hasn't been labeled a war, and Congress hasn't declared it, but that's the problem. I don't think Congress is ever going to declare that it's a war. I don't think they're even going to get the opportunity to do that. That hasn't been 47 style. Not really. For the record, I do apologize for all of the glum history talk. And I should say I'm not a history major, so please take me, with a grain of salt. Do your own research. Come to your own conclusions. Please don't go to streamers for, anything beyond what they're specialized to talk about. But, I at least do want to make sure that people are aware that we do not come with a qualification sticker. You should definitely go seek historians and analysts for that sort of information.
You hear that off in the distance, my senators and inductees? That is an ad storm. In about 5 minutes, it'll blow over us, and then we can get right back to the gaming. Thanks.
I really appreciate everyone's time that they've spent here. It means the world to me. It would also mean the world if you could electrify my algorithm by following my Twitch channel, subscribing to my YouTube channel, liking the video and or streams on YouTube, and even leaving a comment. Doing all of those things ensures that when I zap your feeds with a live or a long-form content notification, you don't have to worry about missing any quality content. Thank you guys for sitting through that. And that can be taken multiple different ways for multiple different purposes. But I do thank you for sitting through that. It is the part of content creation I don't care for. We do take commercial breaks around here in roughly 3.5 minutes. We will be taking the last one of the day. When that time comes, there will be a timer just to the left of my webcam. It'll read for 3 minutes and 0 seconds. During that time, the ads will be playing over on Twitch. I'll be getting up to take a stretch and all that fun stuff. I highly, highly encourage you guys to do the same thing if you're not using ad blockers or something. It'll make your time pass by that much faster. But of course, do feel free to spend the time during the commercial break however you wish. Once the timer reads 0 minutes and 0 seconds, I will return to my desk, and we can pick up right back where we left off. As a reminder, before I read messages, I am going to be leaving 5 minutes earlier than expected today, so just the stream will end at that time. So just be aware. We aren't quite getting all the time on the tin today. I have things I need to go deal with family today, so kind of short notice, or I would have given you guys a heads up about that. Mr. Jason says it's a special military operation. It is. Everyone likes referring to SMOs these days, and they don't really like war. I don't like that. Mr. Shatio says, never thought you would ever live in such an unpredictable world. I truly do echo Tav, the default character name for the player character from Baldur's Gate 3, when I say this. I guess I shouldn't have wished to live in more interesting times. I should have wished to live in boring times. Boring is safe and good, actually. And you only want things to be interesting for your own life. You don't want things to be interesting in the world. It's not always poisoned glasses and intriguing political discourse and, merchants being greedy. Sometimes it's war. Sometimes it's war. And war is an item no one wants. Mr. Jason says, well, one thing, good sir. You hope that it does not, but if the world does implode one day, it has been an honor to have found you, good sir. And, you as well, Mr. Jason. I'm honored to have had my audience. Truly. I'm truly honored to have met each and every one of you, you know, over the internet while we have it. And expressing it further than that is kind of implacable. It's hard to put into words. But I truly do mean what I say, even if I sound a bit monotone and all that. Mr. Jason says, you're already living in interesting times. But Mr. Coyd, too true. We're all unwitting passengers on this boat fare together, aren't we? I'm doing my best to shepherd us, you know, through this, you know, by talking about it, but it's not, you know, at the end of the day, we all have to be responsible for the demons at our own doorsteps. Mr. Shadgo says, can I change this interesting world with a fantasy interesting world? Absolutely. Absolutely. Feel free to do that, good sir. I would like to refrain from historical conversations and current events during our last hour together. Our roughly last hour. See you guys after the commercial break. Sorry about that, everybody. I am back. Let's check up on all of our chat applications, and then we will continue moving forward. Alrighty. Mr. Shadno says, oh, well, you kind of lived in a fantasy when you were in school. As you said, never paying attention to classes and always dreaming. Your mom got a lot of complaints about you over the years. You also never knew the homework you had because you didn't pay attention. Probably if you would have been also hyperactive, you would have been diagnosed with ADHD. Yeah, there's something to be said for being unable to mask things. It's kind of a blessing to those that are unable to mask, because society is forced to deal with it, right? With me, I was able to mask, so while me being a spectral got diagnosed at like pretty early. You know, there are people that assume I am a demon living in human skin. That I'm serious. That is an argument that I hear on some online forums. It didn't really appear in like the mid 2000s. This is more like a red pill, pink pill argument that you hear. Like, oh, people that are autistic, men and women that are autistic are just, you know, they're undateable, they're unmarriageable or whatever. That's usually the line I hear. And then further elaborations like something's wrong with them. They don't respond to cues the same way. It's disgusting discourse. But it's not discourse I'm unused. I'm not unused to. I am used to it. Not directly, but like people feel comfortable enough to say it when they're asked. Which is like a... I don't know whether to feel relieved that they feel so comfortable saying that around me, because I'm you know, unmarriageable for entirely different reasons, or you know, it's because I don't sound like an autistic person to them. When they say something like that, I never tip them off to my condition. I don't even talk about it. My ability to mask can be quite useful when I want it to be. Please, help me. I'm of noble blood. If those hideous mongrels eat me, I'll be forever marred. Anything but that, please. Think of the disgrace. So trapped noble in a cage, huh? Welcome back, Mr. Jason. Like I was saying, I would like to refrain from more current events today. Plus, I'm not sure how much more my brain can take. Just know that I do feel for people. I want people to be aware that there can be good and bad things out of things like this. You know, war. You know, death and life are juxtaposed with each other for a reason. But I don't like where things are going as much as you don't like where things are going. I want people to know that. Truly. Mr. Shad, you says, TBH, Mr. Coin, you always like my unique, classy style. I'm honored that you think that. I appreciate that, truly. When you say class, are you referring to like character or outfit choice? I've had people say that both directions, so I'm curious where your headspace is at when you say that, if and you don't mind my asking. What I will say, I guess, you know, while that conversation is cooking, if being a well-curated individual counts as a style, then I'm happy that is what is being talked about. I wear many different kinds of masks in front of many different kinds of people. My ability to sort of understand where a lot of people are coming from is a skill that I don't like to tout, but I am aware I have it. So I won't shy away if people compliment that. Mr. Shaudio says you're a very polite person. I appreciate that. And do you like the way that I word things? I'm flattered, really. I've gotten really good at word choice over the years. I won't say that my word choice is good or bad. I don't like... As I've told Mr. Jason in private conversation before, and it's a lesson I try to impart on everyone when this kind of topic comes up. When it comes to things like politeness or honesty or integrity, you don't want to say you have those things. You want to show you have those things. If someone else wants to call that feature out in you, don't shirk away from that. Don't say, oh, I'm not. Feel honored in that someone else spotted that characteristic in you. But you want to show rather than tell on good qualities, because man, in my opinion, man is not really capable of being good on their own. Men can do good, men can emulate good, but human beings are not inherently good. We have to work at that. And all it takes is the snap of a finger or one bad day, one string of successfully implanted dark thoughts, and we're no longer that good person anymore. There's a reason we often harp on and talk about how the good people fall. And that's a very important bit of history. It's a lesson we almost linger on for a long period of time, is what happens when good men turn, when good women turn. Give me 1 second, I will read that. This is a really precarious jump. This isn't a skip-worthy rune piece, but you can fall. Mr. Shadio says, you're the example that... I am the example that you give to your peers as a true Christian person. That is... I'm flattered you think I'm highly educated. Although I have 2 associate's degrees, they are in STEM. They are very much not in theology, but I am flattered that you think that. And I try to critically think. I'm not always successful in that. I can be blinded by my own rage, as you guys will come to feel some of that in vlog number 8 when I'm done editing it. My emotions can blind me as much as anyone else's. What I truly suffer from is the curse of being almost perpetually self-aware. And so when I'm self-aware, people who are self-aware a lot, or almost perpetually self-aware, will come across as educated because they're aware of every word they say. Whether they were told or taught they had to be, or they just naturally are aware of every word and the effect that those words have. I am that person. I weigh all of my words very carefully, and me weighing my words carefully has given me some of the qualities that people know me for over the course of multiple years. Like being able to, shapeshift and blend in with a bunch of people, with a bunch of different classes of people. I'm capable of doing that. And the reason that I'm capable of doing that is because I weigh my words carefully. I won't tout success or failure, but I do try to pick my words, pick my battles. I try to carry the lessons of all of my college education with me. And if that makes me a better person or a educated person to people, then who am I to discredit or argue that? They know how I present better than I know how I present to people. Nice. Oh, A quadra kill. I should have those. I should have that on a soundboard. Mr. Shadio says, yes, anyone has a bias. Yeah, we all have biases. We all have plural biases, but I try to mind them. And I guess maybe I mind them more than most people do. So I guess I come across as being philosophical and highly educated, even if I don't think I am. Mr. Jason says, indeed. You are speaking to the TCC's USA branch president. You are speaking to that. I don't like to show that pin very often, but it is a pin and I'm happy to wear it for what that's worth. Mr. Jason says that they don't just pick anyone, especially at the higher levels. I am honored to be picked. I am happy to be pick me for Mr. Jason and the people of the TCC. To be kind of tongue-in-cheek about that. If you know what a pick me is, you know. If you don't worry about it. Just making fun of people who use that, or making fun of the term that people will often use in a seriously poisonous manner to impugn people. I appreciate all the riveting conversation, and I do apologize for how grave it has gotten today. But I do think, you know, it's important that we not bury our heads in the sand. And that's really about all I want to, like, say there is... I've already said that, like, 2 different times. It's best I don't repeat that a 3rd time, but... I merely want to make clear that my intention is definitely not for the discourse to be so grave all the time. Mr. Shadia says, so Mr. Coin, going back to the, you were curious what the red lines in today's run symbolize? So when you say the red lines, are we talking about the game, or are we talking about the splits? I think you're talking about the splits counter underneath me. Is that right? Splits 101. I'm glad you asked that, Mr. Shadio, and I will read your sentence in a moment, Mr. Jason. Promise. So the 3. I need to like actually widen my docs here a second. So, at the bottom are the totals, and I'm using this mostly to, like, establish a baseline even when we're doing routing, but there are 3 numbers that I'm choosing to show you guys. The number of hits I take on a particular split. So, in this case, the split is the Leon and Misbegotten. The boss we're working towards is that. The boss number represents the number of hits you take on that split, working toward completing that split. The way number, the second number, the middle number, represents the hits or deaths. In my case, it's deaths that I take on the way there to do the thing listed in the split. So let's say I died, like out here, outside of Castle Morn, or on the way to the Leon and Misbegotten. That would not actually be a death caused by the Leon and Misbegotten, right? That's a number that goes to the boss counter. Dying to a random piece of trash over here, or dying to one of these spirit jellyfish, counts as a number on the way to the object of the split. And the final number that you're seeing there is the personal best for that split, as well as the personal best for the total at the bottom in red. The personal best is, you know, if it's based on deaths, it's what is my personal best or lowest number of deaths I've taken for that split. And the lower the number is, the better. conversely, or not conversely, but in a contraindicative manner, if this were an actual hitless run as opposed to a deathless run, those numbers would represent the number of times I got hit on the way there, and that final number would represent the lowest number of times I got hit on a split. And reading that for the total, it would be the lowest number of times I got hit during the run, if that's making sense. Sorry. My internals are definitely acting up here. Mr. Shadyo says... Oh, I'm getting ahead of myself. 1 second. Mr. Jason says... Right, this is directed at Mr. Shadyo, so I'll give it a glance, but I won't necessarily read it out loud. Yeah, Mr. Jason is right. The board functions as like kind of a who's in charge, but we all work to implement Mr. Jason's vision for the Discord organization, so, and for the organization as a whole outside of the server. So if he wants someone in particular, well, I mean, it's his server, it's his org. He can add whoever he wants to that. If I'm being quite honest, works for me. And yeah, only he decides who holds similar positions to my own. I'm considered the president. I'm kind of the, to put it lightly, I'm like the overseer of day-to-day operations, basically. I'm the head of board, but I double as an overseer of day-to-day operations inside both the server and elsewhere. So if something happens, I probably know of it, or I can quickly find where that's documented in logs and I can refer back to it. That kind of thing. Mr. Shadyo says, also, Mr. Coin, you were curious if you looked into the Bloodborne emulator thing. I know it got a cease and desist. It either got a cease and desist or it was determined that it was not actually possible for... it was not actually possible for them to make that sort of game. And they'll make FromSoft will make the game when they're bloody well ready to do that. I know Sony also had a go at trying to do a remake of Bloodborne, but FromSoft shot that down themselves. Now, the fan remake could be a thing that's still happening. I don't know 100%, but if I remember right, I'm pretty sure they got a cease and desist. I will endeavor to find more information later for those that are interested. And I'll try to have information about that tomorrow. Probably sometime in the morning for me, so it might be evening for you when you get it. Oh yay, finally. We can, I can upgrade the, I can upgrade the catalyst before we fight the boss. That'll be nice. Well, I want to give you guys at least a taste of what these kinds of jumps look like. Look at this. Also, that is a misbegotten over there. I can't showcase that while this is going on. Come on, Sir Misbegotten. Come to me. Okay. So this is something I often like showcasing when it comes to this stuff. Look at... We can make this jump. I don't know if you guys know this, but we can make this jump. Now, I am not going to make this jump, but we can do it. Failure. The wages of failure is death. If I were to jump and miss the mark, and you have to get a running start for this kind of jump, It might be fine here, right? But the rune piece that I pointed out 1 or 2 sessions ago is up there. Way up there. Imagine our runes getting stuck over there, and we have to make this precarious jump to get them again. Gross. This is one of the few early game rune pieces I skip. If I skip others, it's because I don't know about them. Or it's muscle memory from my old runs back in the day. Mr. Shadyo says, can you get up there another way? If you cheat, maybe. But that's not allowed during a run. Yes, I can do that, as Mr. Jason has pointed out. Yep. Yeah, Secretary Harrow's had quite the path to their position. But they're indispensable. They're responsive. They say exactly what they're thinking. I don't really have a problem with how they conduct themselves on the Discord. They respond when asked, and that's really about all I can expect people to do in this day and age, you know, especially with the way things are today. Just heal up real quick. Bingo. Really? Come on, video game. Don't do that. Gross. Now I have to kill jellyfish and possibly die to get that FP back. Ugh. That said, since this is a legacy dungeon, note that I can't summon Torrent here, which would be how I would normally like to make such precarious jumps to get that rune piece. I'm not going to attempt to do that, of course, but, you know. It's there if people want to do it. It's there if people want to do it. I am going to upgrade this catalyst before stepping into the boss fight, though. Mr. Jason says, indeed, Haru is one of the best choices that you've made. The only complication is the 8-hour difference, although to you, Mr. Coin, it's 3 hours if the math is correct. Yep. We're basically we're in opposite coastal time zones. That's really about as much as I'm gonna say. You can't really, nobody can interpolate data from that. But yeah, like opposite coastal zones. Which has made coordinating meetings interesting, to say the least. Mr. Shadyo says, gonna get the spices to cook that crab. I mean, we grabbed the eggs. That's like spice enough, honestly. But even then, you know, we got butterflies, we got crab, we've got other bits and morsels of meat, I'm sure. We got pickled turtleneck. Mr. Shadyo says, you said different time zones. You could have said that you were globalists. Kappa. Too true. We could have said that. Absolutely. And it wouldn't be incorrect either. That's the neat part. It wouldn't technically be incorrect either. But I'll leave that to the imagination as to whether or not people think that is correct or not. Okay, let's upgrade that. Yeah, see, now we have 171 spell scaling, which is going to be really good going into this next boss. Fun fact, because I happen to know it exists, there's actually a food mod that you could throw in Elden Ring. You can actually create meals. Now, Reforged doesn't have anything like that, and it would be conversely incompatible with Elden Ring Reforged. But there are mods that let you make meals. That is absolutely something that you can do. I know there's like one or two pretty good ones. If I can find them, I'll put them in the Discord for those that are curious. Mr. Jason says also, Mr. Coin, with the streamer Gen streams, you also have a hammer there too. Nice. Nice. I bet it gets as much use as it needs over there. I am going to get rid of... Yeah, I think these 4 spells are good enough. Welcome on in, Mr. Clabus. Good to see you, good sir. Hopefully you're doing well. I have no idea why Firebot is acting up or having issues. Hold on. Let me troubleshoot that after I greet the man properly. I hope you're doing well, Mr. Clabus, and I do hope you enjoy your stay, good sir. Mr. Clabus says, doing good now. You were sick like 9 days. Wow. I'm sorry that you were sick. I trust you're feeling better, as indicated by the doing good now. Yeah, that's not fun at all. Mr. Shadio says, Thor would be... that is directed at Mr. Jason. Fair. And Thor would very much be proud of him. Too true. Let me take a quick second and I'll see if I can't troubleshoot the shout-out command. I don't know why that's not working. That definitely should be working. Oh, because it's not a real command for whatever reason. Really? But I could have sworn. Did that delete itself somewhere along the way? I guess it did. Okay. I guess I'll have to make a new shoutout command. For the future. Firebot changed a lot of its own integrated settings, so some commands did get lost, and I guess I finally learned that the shoutout command was one of them. Mr. Jason says, similarly to here, Mr. Coin, your hammer is an important tool that you only use in moderation. Too true, Mr. Jason. Too true. To explain what you're walking in on, Mr. Clabus, I have rekindled my challenge running arc. I'm not actually challenge running yet, but I am routing for a real challenge run. I am routing a Elden Ring Reforged, a modded version of Elden Ring challenge run with a lot of bells and whistles on it. And so that's what the splits counter and stuff is all for underneath the webcam. Just so what you're walking in on makes sense to you. Mr. Clavis says it seems Sony stopped releasing their single-player games on PC and other platforms. Yeah, I think Sony realized they're eating really good right now, and they have a lot of leverage to pull exclusives. I've heard some headlines about there being the return of Sony exclusives. So that your statement checks out to me. Makes a lot of sense. Mr. Clavis then goes on to say you should replay Elden Ring. Oh, you should. That's great. If you have it on computer, you should consider playing Reforged. Or I guess the Convergence. But, mods of Elden Ring with Shadow of the Erdtree compatibility are really good. There are a couple of Night Rain ports in Reforged, and I'm sure we're going to get a couple more as they are fitted for appropriateness for the mod. I think we have like 3 Night Rain port bosses. Something like that. Mr. Jason says you're doing exceptionally well for Mr. Jason, Mr. Coin. You have 8 days before your next funds are available, and you still have, Mr. Jason still has 140 pounds left. Nice. Nice. 9 days, you mean. Fair. Mr. Klebus says, well, you wonder if you can get mods or run mods on Mac? Probably. I'm pretty sure Reforged is Mac compatible. I think the README comes with instructions. Give me a second, actually, and I'll see if I can't confirm that for you. I need to just blur out some sensitive stuff. So 1 second. I just need to look and see if something is in a document folder that, you know, should be there. Yep, I have the... I mean, it is a Word document, but... And I'll kind of quickly wink out the overlays so that people can read it properly. And I'll wink out the chat for a second. Yep. There are instructions for both Linux and Steam Deck. What am I getting hit by? I'm getting hit by a bloody rat. Thankfully, this was not a real run, or that would have been really bad. I should have paused the game is what I should have done. Elden Ring Reforged comes with a compatibility item that lets you pause the game, which is like really, really good. I use it when we're getting ready to run commercial breaks for the during the hour. But yes, Reforged is Linux compatible. It is also Steam Deck compatible. I don't know too much about the details, but if you want to know, or if you want to get that information for yourself, Mr. Klebus, you can type in !ERR into the chat, and it'll take you right to the mod page on Nexus Mods. You can also type in !ERWiki, and if you want to learn more about this particular mod. The other mod that has like wiki information on it would be the Convergence. That's like a totally different thing. Mr. Jason says, you've usually spent it all by now. Fair. I mean, you are going to spend a good chunk more of it for, you know, dinner, right? Dinner this weekend? Or dinner, yeah, dinner in the coming weekend, if I remember right. Trying to think if I was gonna... There was something I was gonna say. And I just totally blanked on what it is. I guess for now, I'll at least put the split counter back up. Mr. Jason says, oh, that 50 pounds is separate to the 140 pounds, good sir. Ah, fair enough. Never mind me, then. Goes to show what I know. That said, I think it's boss time. We've got, I'm definitely not gonna, no, we might make it to the 8 braziers. We won't finish the 8 braziers, but I think we could get there underground. We just gotta be smart about it. Just gotta be smart and gotta not take damage on the way there, more or less. Now, if I did this right, we should have Castellan Edgar available to help us with this. Yes, we should have him available. We're going to take him, we're going to bring him in, we're going to summon the demi-humans, and we're going to go to town. And hopefully, the Leon and Misbegotten won't be too hard. Mr. Jason says, although you might buy your mom some flowers for Mother's Day, that would be nice. I'm sure your mother would appreciate that. Especially if it's coming from a place of earnest and genuine love. That's sort of the important part. Otherwise, the flowers can feel fake. No one wants to gift fake gifts. That's an awful thing to carry with you, really. Edgar, I need you to not run over the side of the cliff, please. Now, Mr. Clavis said, I will read comments before we step through the fog gate. Mr. Clavis says mods should run on Mac, just have to go through some hoops. Yes, yeah. According to what I read in the readme for a split second, that is correct. Just some hoops. Because if you run Windows stuff, you have to use Crossover or Sakurugir. Those two run the most Windows games. Yeah, I hear you on that. I'm pretty sure the instructions are pretty straightforward, and I think the README is available without downloading the mod if you want to see that separately. Elden Ring Reforged comes with like several READMEs categorized by what they're for. There's one for online play. This mod is one of the ones that runs its own Elden Ring server. So if you wanted to compete or play in PvP against other people, you can do that. There's separate compatibility for seamless co-op. So if you have a group of friends you want to play this with, you know, if you jump through some more hoops, as you've put it, you could definitely do that too. Which after this run, you know, after I'm successful with this type of run, I have considered finding friends to do that. To run this alongside, because I do think that would be fun. That would be a nice collaborative project. Mr. Jason says, oh, Mr. Quinn, you have someone whose birthday is in November? Nice. You purchased their birthday card back in January? Awesome. It's always good to get that stuff prepped ahead of time. Mr. Jason says, just 41k channel points now until 200k here. Nice. Nice. Mr. Clavis says, you have friends? JK. I have fewer friends than I would like, but I do at least have some. I did figure you were joking, though. Mr. Shadya says you gotta go now. See ya. Very well, Mr. Shadya. Thank you so much for stopping by, good sir. It was incredibly nice to have you along. Sorry that the discussions weren't more positive, but I do hope that I was that port of less stress, or at least somewhat less stress for you, Mr. Shadyo. I do hope I get to see you sooner rather than later, good sir. But if not, for whatever reason, I don't see you again, do rest well, stay safe, and take care of yourself out there. And with that, just checking through YouTube and Kick one last time. I do not see anything. Mr. Jason, yeah, I do have friends, and I am happy to have them. On the internet. That's at least something. I have something. Gotta take the parasocial relationships where you can get them. That said, it is focus time. It is time for us to clam up and fight the boss. So I'm gonna put up the overlay, and I will see you guys after this particular boss. Not too hard, but I have died to the Leon and Misbegotten before. He has one-shot me on a couple of occasions when doing this in the past. So I like to focus up for him because he can perform like a 4 or 5 hit combo and stun lock you for like 2 or 3 of the hits. Like really, he can lock you down really easily, and no one likes it when Leon and Misbegotten does that. He's kind of a joke in base game, but Reforged makes the game a lot more technical and more balanced. So if you're wanting a more... I wouldn't say difficult. I hesitate at difficult, because I'm playing on what is considered the base difficulty for Reforged, and Reforged is supposedly balanced around vanilla. It just has less cheese. You can't cheese things in Reforged like you can with base game. I'll go ahead and unpin that now. As soon as I get this sized correctly. Don't need that pinned anymore. Mr. Jason says Surimu Games eventually does complete every game that he plays. Surimu's arch enemy, cliffs. Mr. Jason says you can't explain it, Mr. Coin, but Surimu does seem to be a magnet for glyphs. I mean, I am too in these kinds of games. I am too. I can't tell you the number of times that I have failed to complete or PB achieve a personal best in Dark Souls 3, New Game Plus, Dark Spells Only. I can't tell you how many personal bests I've wrecked because I fell off of a cliff edge or gravity killed me. I'm not kidding. Cliffs are the bane of my existence in games like this. They're also the bane of my existence in platformers, which is why I often don't play them. Mr. Jason says, you do like how some of the Elden Ring bosses have their own personal void, like Dark Link had in The Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time. When you say void, what do you mean? Just so I'm not crossing wires somewhere along here. Come on. Get up there. Thank you. That shouldn't have taken that long. Room and space. Yeah, there are a lot of personal instances with Elden Ring as a whole, and you know, you don't need Reforged for that specifically. Welcome on in, Mr. Tension. Good to see you. Hopefully you're doing well in body and mind. God blessed be to you. And I do hope you enjoy your stay, good sir. You've come in on the tail end of a routing session for today. Well, I don't know how long you've been here, but I catch your words at the tail end of a session. How about that? Sorry, sincerely clearing my throat there. But how goes the Twilight Princess? How's that game going for you, Mr. Tension? If you don't mind my asking, you've been keeping us pretty up to date on your progress, actually. You've come in right when we've almost achieved our goal for today. There's a good chance we might not get there, but
from those fallen creatures, I'm no longer bound by duty. Once I've rescued Arena, I will spend my remaining days with her. Thanks to you, I will be reunited with Arena and devote my remaining days to her. Arena has a gentle nature, though. I only hope it remains intact. Thanks to you, I will be
well, Edgar, you might not like what's coming up next, buddy. Mr. Tension says you took a break on Twilight Princess, and you're trying to beat Resident Evil 9. Nice! Okay, that's cool. I hope Resident Evil 9 has been going smoothly for you, good sir. I would say that our routing has been going smoother than it was yesterday.
Rena, how could this be? My daughter deserved better. The fault lies with me. I chose duty over my daughter's safety. And that is how fate has answered.
Mr. Tension says you beat the game already, but you have to beat it 3 more times. What? What is this, Devil May Cry 4? That's you know what? Yes. Now that I remember it's Capcom, yeah, that's exactly what I expect. They want to own your ass for 6 months, and making you beat the game multiple times is how that happens.
I'll find them. The foul wretch is responsible for this. I'll hunt them down and exterminate every last one of them. Rest assured, Arena, it will be done. I'll find them. The foul wretch is responsible for this. I'll hunt them down and exterminate every last one of them. Rest assured, Arena.
Okay, well, we have unlocked Edgar's villain arc. That's a thing that's happened. Mr. Jason says, also, Mr. Coin in Jen's Discord, you made a Hazel discussion area for that one ACNH scroll that you're not a fan of due to her unibrow. The Hazel, yes, Hazel. It's in the name. Someone said, whereas Mr. Jason would throw up on the carpet if she moved to his island, and you replied, I personally wouldn't throw out the red carpet because that would cost way more than even the maximum amount that could be restored in the ABDs. But for the right price, my hotel would throw out that carpet. Yes. Mr. Jason says, who even quote guided tours by you as 98 million bells. That you do. Mr. Jason says, oh, you just got what that person said? Not throw out, throw up? Ah, yes. Yes, you would throw out the red carpet, but you meant throw up. Got it. Mr. Tension says, Mr. Coin, you weren't going to do it, but the gamer in me said go for it. That's a challenge. See, that's a challenge. I like a good challenge. I would definitely be the person that would at least do it. I mean, heck, I almost did it with Bayonetta 2. You kind of have to, like, beat the game twice. And I did that on stream, like, 5 years ago? That was the only game I did a giveaway for. I'm happy I did a giveaway for that game. I'm sure that Malicious is very happy with that game. I hope it didn't get caught up in Italy's customs and border, like, customs and border agency or like customs and border protection over there, but good chance it might have gotten caught up in customs. That would be not right. Thank you, thank you. Mr. Jason says, you mean good sir? You see Mr. Jason's hotel, Mr. Jason's hotel luxurious room? Yeah. You're eventually going to do a valuation breakdown of that room? I'll bet. I'm looking forward to the number of zeros on that. I'm sure there are going to be a lot of them. We're getting pretty close to the first shard bearer. We've got the entirety of the underground left, and then after that, it'll be off to Stormvale Castle. It took us like a week and a half, but we're here. Mr. Tetchet says you got 42 of 50 trophies. Nice. Nice. As a bit of a reminder slash for those that are new, we've probably got about 2 minutes before I gotta close stream for today. I do gotta head out the door. I need to be out the door in 7 minutes, and I'm needing to end the stream early in order to make that happen. I very nearly killed myself. Let's not do that. So I normally would be streaming for another 6 minutes, but I need to make sure I'm on time today. Like, I cannot be late for a very important date. There's supposed to be tea. I'm kidding. There's going to be pizza, but still. Mr. Jason says it's not going to be many zeros, good sir. Your upstairs room only has 6 zeros. Only 6 zeros. Yes. Only 6 zeros. That's a lot of zeros. It really almost ought to be, where am I looking for it? Here.
It's against the law.
Almost against the law. But I do look forward to the breakdown when you get around to it. My lovely senators and inductees, my name is Coin. I apologize we cannot have a more lengthy outro, like a lengthy end to the stream, but I'm trying to hurry things along. Thank you guys so incredibly much for hanging out with me. Mr. Jason says just the chairs around the table in that room is 200,000 bells. Understandable. Yeah, zeros. Mr. Jason says, bye, good sir, see you tomorrow. You guys have been wonderful. You guys know what to do algorithmically among my 3 platforms, whether you're on the red, green, or purple one, it's all the same. If you guys want to enter any of my hallowed halls, you can either check the description on YouTube or the underneath the video player on Twitch, or if you type in #Linktree on Kick, you will get those hallowed halls. You can also find them through my YouTube channel as well. But otherwise, I hope to see you guys back tomorrow. We will be back tomorrow. But do stay safe. Do take care of yourselves. You're welcome amidst my hallowed halls anytime. I'll see you guys tomorrow. Yes, absolutely, Mr. Jason. Absolutely. Whether that be the TCC or my own hallowed halls. You're welcome to be in either of them. See you guys tomorrow. And with that, goodbye.